All right, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Macon Centreplex for the final home game of the 2018-19 regular season. This will be the last game in this building until the playoffs start. The Mayhem guaranteed at least one postseason home game, which is the good news. They're hoping for quite a few more than that. Alex Von Coydel, the voice of your Mayhem, thrilled to be bringing you some near postseason action here at the Centreplex tonight. This will be as close to a playoff game as you can possibly get, folks. The officiating has started to already be more lenient on penalties. They're not calling as much anymore. That much has been clear. We saw it last weekend in Pensacola, already a huge amount of subsiding in terms of penalties called against pretty much everything, which is good news for the Mayhem because as we stated in the pregame report that we wrote and published on Mayhem social media earlier today, 5-on-5 is where the Mayhem have been at their strongest all season. And Knoxville, a team that's been really strong on the special teams, particularly on the PK. They rank first in the SPHL in the penalty kill department this season. A 92.2% success rate the Knoxville Icebears have, and that much has really been a constant all season. It's been remarkable to not see that number fluctuate in the slightest. It's been hovering north of 90% virtually all year, folks. I can't recall a time really where it dipped too much lower than that. So you got to tip your cap to Jeff Carr and the Knoxville Icebears for being able to produce that consistently on the penalty kill all season long for that long of a period of time. So that's been very impressive for them. But we do not expect there, unless, of course, things get out of hand as they have on a few occasions, particularly on Friday nights. Other than that, we don't really expect there to be a whole lot of penalties called. We don't expect the officiating crew tonight to call a lot of the chitsy stuff that we might have seen earlier this season. For the most part, they're just going to let them play, and the reason being, this is what we're about to see, folks, is playoff hockey. Both teams already clinched a playoff berth. The question is, what seed will they be? Right now, the Knoxville Icebears possess the seed that the Mayhem are after and have been after for weeks, that highly coveted fourth spot, which would grant them home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs, and would also grant them a matchup with an opponent that the higher three seeds decided not to choose. So either way, no matter what happens, the Mayhem are going to be facing a very tough opponent in the first round. We don't know who it will be yet. The watch party for the SPHL selection show, the playoff selection show, will take place on Sunday night, April 7th at Margaritas at Mercer Village. I beg your pardon. They've done an outstanding job supporting us all season with watch parties and whatnot. So that should be a lot of fun to figure out who the Mayhem will face in the first round. And it's the first time that I've experienced being a part of a selection process like that, where a higher-seeded team picks a lower-seeded team to play against in the first round. The Mayhem, the highest seed they can get is fourth, which would leave them, contrary to the belief of many, the fourth spot does not allow the Mayhem to choose anybody. They'll just basically get left with whichever team that the top three seeds do not pick. So assuming that the top three seeds were to pick seeds 8, 7, and 6, the Mayhem would be left with seed 5 if they were to reach that fourth spot. But they have to get there first. Lots of teams stand in their way. The Mayhem have dropped all the way down to the 7th spot in the SPHL standings. It's not been, the latter half of the season has not been anywhere near as kind to the Mayhem as the first half was. Right now, the Mayhem sitting in 7th with a 25-22-5 record. The good news is, if the Mayhem win tonight and if they get some help, they can launch themselves from 7th to 5th place overnight. And if they can take care of business all weekend against Knoxville, they can draw to within just 2 points of them, which would put the Mayhem virtually in control of their own destiny to close out the regular season in Peoria next week. But that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. The focus tonight will be merely taking 2 points from a team that has been really hot lately. In the month of March, they've really come to life, folks. They've had probably as much roster turnover as any team in this league. Players coming and going from this Knoxville squad, and it's a squad that the Mayhem have not faced in a long time. So lots of unfamiliar names. The Knoxville Icebears. The Knoxville Icebears starting lineups were just announced. They will be as follows. On defense, they're going with the Czech-born blue liner David Branchik in his second season with the Knoxville Icebears. His defensive partner, Doug Rose, who is second in the SPHL among defensemen in scoring this season with a whopping 34 points on the campaign. Up front, Chandler Madry, who debuted for the Icebears on Saturday last weekend. He's held off the score sheet, but he's hoping to get his first point with the organization tonight. Flanked by a couple of players who are a little bit more veteran in Garrett Sargis and Scott Cathrell. Cathrell leads all Icebears in scoring this season with 41 points on the campaign, nearly a point per game, 12 goals, 29 assists, and 12 penalty minutes. In goal, Cody Porter, a name that the Mayhem have not faced at all this season. Porter has played in 7 games for Jeff Carr's squad. He's won 5 of them, a 2.34 goals against average and a .935 save percentage. Pretty good numbers from Cody Porter. Michael Santaguida is his backup tonight, as Hayden Stewart is still on the IR, and I think the Mayhem probably thankful that they will not be facing Hayden Stewart tonight, because the last time the Mayhem and the Icebears squared off, it was Stewart who was in goal, and he got the better of Macon. It went to a shootout. We're in the middle of saying it, folks. The Mayhem have not seen the Icebears in an exceptionally long time. The last time these teams squared off was on December 26th, the day after Christmas of 2018. It was a shootout loss for the Mayhem. Hayden Stewart got the win, and the Mayhem put 33 shots on him. He stopped 31 of them. He had a really strong game in net. Ian Silvas did as well, an even better night than Hayden Stewart did. Unfortunately, the Mayhem could not score in that shootout, and Knoxville was able to secure 2 points from the Mayhem. In this building, however, it's been a tougher ride for the Icebears. They've won 1 game against Macon at the Centreplex this season. They dropped their first matchup here 6-3, and then the next one 4-2, but they bounced back a week later and beat the Mayhem 4-1. That was the last time the Icebears were in this building on Saturday, November 17th. Liam Cairns had the game-winning goal. Jordan Ruby was handed his first regulation loss of the season that night. By the way, folks, Jordan Ruby in the ECHL doing a really good job with the Wheeling Nailers. Brief alumni report on him. Jordan Ruby, of the goaltenders, the 3 goaltenders the Mayhem have had called up this season, Ruby has played in the most games. He's played 25 games in Wheeling, the Pittsburgh Penguins AA affiliate, if you will. He's won 12 of them, a 12-8-3 record, a 2.81 goals against average, and a .911 save percentage. Good to see the former Mayhem netminder thriving at the next level. The Mayhem very hopeful that they might see him back. Wheeling right now, if I'm not mistaken, last time I checked, they were not in a playoff spot. I checked about a week ago. I think they were last in their division, though it's pretty close. The division that they're in is pretty neck and neck. I want to say they're in the North Division, the division that Reading is in, Andrew D'Agostini and company. And if the Wheeling Nailers do not make the playoffs, the odds of Macon seeing Jordan Ruby again will skyrocket. So the Mayhem with their fingers crossed, hoping to see the beloved goaltender back in Mactown for the postseason. But they've got 2 perfectly capable goaltenders who are dressed for tonight's game. A healthy scratch, Tanner Creel for tonight. The backup netminder, Ian Silvas. The starting netminder, getting his 3rd consecutive start, will be Kevin Entma, who posted absurd numbers in his debut. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get any wins when he was down in Pensacola, because he played extremely well in his professional debut on Friday and Saturday night. He kept the Mayhem in both of those games. .945 save percentage through 2 games played. Game 1 down in Pensacola, the Adrian College product faced 33 shots on goal. He stopped 31 of them, and then on Saturday night, he faced 40 shots on goal, stopped 38 of them. So he was terrific, and as such, he's going to get another go at it. This will be Entma's professional home debut tonight. Welcome inside the Macon Centreplex for Fan Appreciation Night / Cherry Blossom Night for our final home game in Middle Georgia this regular season. we'll have at least one more game in this rowdy building before the players head home. They're hoping it will be a lot more than that as they bear down to make another postseason push in the 2019 President's Cup playoffs. Mac, the mascot, as is his custom, will skate out onto the Macon Centreplex ice to rile up this fan appreciation night crowd. This will be game one in a home-and-home series in which the Mayhem and the Icebears jostle for positioning in a very tight SPHL leaderboards. Right now, Knoxville with a 6-point edge over the Mayhem in the standings. Tomorrow night, the Mayhem will go back up to the Knoxville Civic Auditorium to square off against the Icebears for the last time this season. Starting on defense for the Mayhem, the ex-Greenville Swamp Rabbit, Jake Fiella, sporting the number 4 in honor of his idol, Rob Blake, legend Hall of Fame defenseman of the Colorado Avalanche. Jarrett Cupp will be flanking him on his left, sporting the number 8 in honor of Drew Doughty, his favorite NHL defenseman. John Siemer getting the go, presumably to start at center, possibly at right wing. It will all depend on what Coach Thomas decides to do. And on his left, it looks like will be the Czech forward, Stathis, who's been welcomed back to Macon with open arms since his return from the Norfolk Admirals in the ECHL. And it appears as though the AAA line has been reunited. John Siemer, Stathis, Jake Trask will be the Mayhem's undisputed top line tonight. And Coach Thomas will be making a bit of a statement here, loading up all of his top guns on one line, all of his leaders, all of his veterans, all of his top scoring players, all on one unit tonight, hoping to spark some offense in this team that's in desperate need of it. Last weekend, the Mayhem really struggled to generate consistent offense. They were held to just a single goal in 2 games down at the hangar in Pensacola, a building that's become increasingly hostile towards them over the course of this season, particularly in terms of putting the puck in the net. The Ice Flyers, for whatever reason, especially in that building, just do an outstanding job of shutting the Mayhem down, in large part due to the stellar play of their goaltender, Brian Billett. Singing of our country's national anthem will be next. In the meantime, we're going to take a pause on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We'll be back in a moment, folks. Keep it right here. So that was Wesley Men's Chorus performing our country's national anthem, and what a job they did. The 53rd game of the 2018-19 regular season just about underway. That is the case for both teams, as every single team in this league has now played the exact same amount of games. The schedule is starting to tighten back together again. Just 2 more weeks remain for teams to jostle for any last remaining points in the standings to put themselves in the most preferable spot possible heading into the postseason. Taking place over in the far corner on the left side. You can't see it on your screen right now, but John Siemer and Lucas Bombardier Macon's alternate captain and Knoxville's captain, taking part in the ceremonial puck drop. Cherry Blossom Royalty dropping our ceremonial puck drop tonight. Again, tonight's game is sponsored by the Cherry Blossom Festival. We're very thankful to have them aboard. The Mayhem were at the festival on Tuesday to promote the weekend, or rather fan appreciation weekend at the Macon Centreplex. Fan appreciation night tonight. The home and home series will go on tomorrow, but game 2 will be in Knoxville. A couple of players will be making a very emotional return to that building tomorrow night in Danny Caesar and Marcus Ortiz. We'll hear from them a little bit later in interviews as this game goes on. The referee for tonight's game is Cameron Fleming. The linesmen are Sean DeLoe and Derek Calise. The 53rd game of the 2018-19 regular season just about underway. John Seamer lines up to take the opening draw. He'll be countered by Chandler Madry, playing in just his second game. Check that. He'll be countered by Scott Cothrell at center. Madry is flanking him on the right wing side. I beg your pardon. Both teams leader in assists this season to take the first faceoff of the game, cleanly won by the one in the Navy sweater, John Seamer, winning it back to Fiala, and it's chipped into the Knoxville zone by Stathis Sumalitis, who takes a run at Madry. Jimmy's the puck free in doing so. They'll go behind the net. Branchik tries to clear. Running into Jake Fiala there was Garrett Sargis, but he's able to clear it all the way down, but at a cost, as icing is the call against the Knoxville Icebears. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. We're so glad to have you on, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Hope you're enjoying your Friday night wherever you may be. Anyone who would like a shout out at any point throughout this game, let us know. We'd love to hear from you, whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on SPHL Live. Send us a tweet at Macon Mayhem and tag us in it. Let us know where you're tuned in from. We'd be happy to give you a shout out before this game comes to an end. Feel free to comment on the YouTube page as well. Scott Cothrell enters the Mayhem zone. From the right side, he will go battle for it in the corner on the near side of the ice. It's backhanded up the wall, kept in the zone by Doug Rose. Rose sends it over. Nice pass. Turning and passing into the slot for Madry was Scott Cothrell. The pass was a little bit too hot to handle for Madry, as it's taken over by Fiala, who clears it up to Stathis Sumalitis. Madry pickpocketed by Fiala. The puck is scooped up now by Jake Trask, who will feed one ahead to Seamer. He redirects it into the zone, and Seamer fights for it in the near corner. Liam Cairns wraps it around. Zach Urban steps in and pumps it back down into the corner on the far side of the ice. Spencer Metcalf will feed it to his defensive partner, Blake O'Neill, and the puck's been cleared out to the neutral zone. Brought in across the Macon blue line and dropped off to the right point, where Liam Cairns and Derek Sutliff battle for possession. Sutliff is victorious in the scrap. He feeds a nice pass up the right wing side. Danny Caesar runs into some traffic. It was Spencer Metcalf knocking him off the puck, if I'm not mistaken. As recovering with it in his own zone now is Seth Ronsberg. His pass is intended for Caesar. It's intercepted. Lucas Bombardier will drop it off. Cameron intercepts it. He's got a 1-against-1. Cameron enters the zone on the far side, dips the shoulder. Center, Caesar shoots, save. Rebound, Caesar puts it back in front, and hugging the post there was Cody Porter to make a second stop. What a statement that would have been for Danny Caesar in his first shift against his former team. Nearly put the puck in the back of the net less than 2 minutes in. It's wrapped around the Macon end wall, out to the far side. Roberts Lokans is there. The Latvian-born forward fights for possession. Anthony McVeigh helps him out. McVeigh is pinned to the wall on the far side. He springs it loose, tries to whack it on goal from the far circle. Never was able to do so, as it's battled for below the goal line now. Anthony McVeigh swoops in, has possession, will drop it down into the corner on the near side of the ice. Speared behind the net nicely by Nick DiNicola. And now twisting with it is Anthony McVeigh. He sends it back to the line. A long wrister is on target and stopped by Kevin Entma. Loose puck battled for in the half wall on the near side. Into the slot, Lokans backhands a pass to the side of the net. And no shot really came from it, as it's held at the line nicely, however, and twisted back into the right corner of the ice. And now it's Larry Smith picking it up for Macon, sending a backhand pass onto Ortiz's stick. He is hit high. Nothing is called. Soper from the red line will chisel it into the Knoxville zone. That's what we were talking about, folks. The penalties will be a lot more lenient tonight than we're used to seeing. That might have been called earlier this season, that hit to Marcus Ortiz, but not tonight. Certainly not tonight. Doug Rose backhands it along the end wall. It's accelerated further by David Branchik. Brought out to center ice by Madry. He's able to spring one along nicely. Scott Cothrell drops it. One-time shot is just off the mark. It missed the left post by inches. Taking the shot was Garrett Sargis, who nearly had his 5th goal of the season. And now it's John Seamer, who is stymied near the opposing blue line in front of the Knoxville bench. In the meantime, it's fought for between Cathrell and Fiala, won by the latter of the two. And chipped ahead for Jake Trask, who will begin the rush into the Knoxville zone. And across the blue line, he skates it. His pass is intercepted by Lucas Bombardier, joined by Cathrell. Bombardier is the tail gunner. He heads to the front of the net, redirects the pass on goal, stopped by Entma. Cathrell receives it in the far circle, interrupted by Cameron. He begins the counterattack, joined by Trask on his right, Sutliff on his left. Trask attempts the give and go, goes all the way on net. It's stopped by goaltender Cody Porter, who now lets it sit at the side of his net and will be content to just take a whistle, which has now blown. 16:03 to go in the first period. No score at the Macon Centreplex. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in tonight on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Whether you're a fan of the Mayhem or the Ice Bears, we're glad you decided to join in tonight. Alex Von Coydel live from the Centreplex, hoping you're enjoying your Friday evening. There will be an offensive zone face-off for the Mayhem to the right of Cody Porter. And the Ice Bears have squeaked it out past the blue line. They could get a 2-on-1. Centered in front opportunity. It rolls on net. Entma the save. And that did not go according to plan. It was Scott Cathrell, Garrett Sargis, I believe, on that 2-on-1 rush. They didn't really get anything from it. Check that. It was Stanislav Zhykov on the rush. Lots of numbers in the 70s for Knoxville, the only team in the SPHL that can really say that. Mayhem will take a defensive zone face-off here to the left of Entma. It's won by Caleb Cameron, blasted around by Minerva, held in at the left point and fired on net, stopped by Entma. Caleb Cameron behind his net inside of the trapezoid will send it out the far side, and Nick Minerva will begin to motor out down the left wing. It's being hacked at repeatedly by Liam Cairns to jar the puck loose. Calling for it, Bombardier. It went between his skates and his stick. Liam Cairns taking it away at center. Jimmy Soper had to elude his reach as it squeaks through over the red line, and Derek Sutliff on his off wing is dispossessed of it by Charlie Granath, the Swedish-born defenseman. Now Larry Smith up to Soper. He is checked by Kramer. Smith pops one ahead. The Mayhem onside here as it's whacked off the Mayhem's sticks by Charlie Granath, and here come the Ice Bears in transition. Liam Cairns tries to clip one through. He's hoping to get it to Zhykov. No luck. Jarrett Cup, the Curry College product, sends it past Sean Lynch. No redirect from Lynch. No icing either. Cup tries to center. He does. It's broken up by Locans, who got back beautifully and interrupted the centering pass. I thought that would be an icing call against the Mayhem. It was not. Sean Lynch just able to nullify it with a good hustle. Seth Ronsberg gives Locans a run into the turnbuckle behind the net. Jarrett Cup takes over. Pass chips off the stick of, I believe that's Dakota Kletcha. Sort of a last-minute addition to the lineup. We weren't sure if he would play tonight. He's been nursing an ankle injury, but it's good to see him healthy again. Doug Rose, right point, flutters a shot towards the net, redirects wide of the goal. DiNicola receives it behind the cage. He's watched on all sides. He escapes with it, sends it out in front, redirects off the stick of Sean Lynch. He is checked without the puck, no penalty. And Soper will backhand it off the glass, held in the zone by a pair of skates. Lynch is exhausted. He will just dump it into the zone from the red line and head to the Macon bench to complete a line change. We're 6 minutes into this contest, scoreless in the Macon Centreplex. Good work by Seamer to spring the puck free, but the Ice Bears escape with no harm done. Racing into the zone now and backhanding a shot just wide of the goal was Blake O'Neill. He had a pretty good opportunity to score from the left circle. A backhand shot is blocked in front of the net by Seth Ronsberg, and Jake Trask will float a pass through the neutral zone. It's picked off. The Mayhem back in control now. Zach Urban pops one up to Trask. It flutters over his stick. Taking over with it at center is Blake O'Neill now, who will give the pass right back into the direction from which he got it to Spencer Metcalf. Now it's Scott Cathrell. He will slam on the brakes behind his own cage. He passes it right up the middle. Chandler Madry. And Madry up to Mueller. He will backhand it into the zone. Mitchell Mueller came aboard from the Quad City Storm in a trade earlier this season, still trying to find his rhythm with the Knoxville Ice Bears. The next whistle that blows will institute a media timeout. We haven't had one in a few minutes now. Puck rolls up the wall on the far side. It's spun by Zhykov nicely for Kramer on the near side of the ice. He's watched every step of the way by Derek Sutliff. Nice stick handling as a shot on goal is denied by Entma. Flung back in front, wrist shot blocked. Nicely done, and it's carried out of there by Danny Caesar, who slips away from one. He's got Sutliff breaking on goal. The pass for Sutliff can't connect with the pass. Nice attempt by Caesar, but the pass was just between Sutliff's skates and his stick. Bombardier from the right side sends it into the high slot. Zhykov couldn't handle it. It's Jarrett Cup behind his own cage. Cup's got it. Both teams changing. Cup will leave it for Sutliff, who will return it to him. Cup to Ortiz. Skillfully redirects it on for Zach Urban, who will blast it in from center. It's blocked by Branchik. Hoisted out of there. And it flies out of play. That flying puck has been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Looks like it went into the bottom of section 120, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of groups on hand tonight to enjoy the Mayhem's final game, I should say, of the final home game of the 2018-19 regular season. We hope you're enjoying your night, folks. We'll be back in just a moment on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Season, the Mayhem are offering whether you're a school,
Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today.
So there's going to be a neutral zone draw out in front of the Knoxville bench. Looks like that's Anthony McVeigh, who's going to be countered by Jimmy Soper in the draw. The linesman drops the puck, or fakes dropping the puck. It's dumped in behind the net by Marcus Ortiz. Doug Rose can't clear it. Ortiz trying to win it from his former team to his new team. He gets it back to Ronsberg. He will fire it. Missed the glove side post of Porter. Now it's Soper trying to wheel it back to Urban. Went off a Knoxville skate. Ortiz whacks it at the net, blocked by Anthony McVeigh, and it's been cleared past Urban, who just saved a breakaway. Zach Urban will rattle it in counterclockwise along the Knoxville end wall. We get a whistle for an offside called against the former Ice Bear, Marcus Ortiz. Shout out to Spirit Davidson, tuned in on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your support, Spirit. Hope you're enjoying your Friday night. The puck's been backhanded along by Blake O'Neill, and from the half wall on the far side, it's intercepted by Stathis Sumalitis, who will send one slowly into the near corner of the ice after it changed direction. Fighting for it, Spencer Metcalf, who's pinned to the wall by John Seamer. Rolls around to the far side. Stanislav Zhykov will feed it now to Lucas Bombardier. Bombardier returns it to Zhykov, lets it carry him off the boards and collects it. Jarrett Cup takes it away from him. Sent around to the half wall on the near side of the ice. O'Neill puts it into the slot. Zhykov backhands it down to Cairns in the circle on the near side. Taken away from him by Sumalitis, whose pass is redirected into the zone by Trask, just having gained the red line, so no icing, and the AAA line is allowed to complete a line change. Taking it behind his own net now is Spencer Metcalf. He is knocked off possession by Caleb Cameron. Cameron will twist it into the far corner. Sumalitis is there, still needing a line change. The native of Brno, the Czech Republic. He had a bit of a slip up. He is able to get to the bench, however. Long stretch pass. Finds Zhykov lurking behind the defense. Dipsy doodles inside out, but he loses the puck ultimately. And Kevin Etma is able to make the stop. Good heads-up play by Derek Sutliff. He had just come on the ice in exchange for Stathis Sumalitis. A late line change by Stathis. And Sutliff read the play beautifully. A lot of forwards in that situation would have rushed into the zone after hopping onto the ice, but he did not. He saw the play developing. He saw the potential danger, and he hustled back to defend the highly skilled Russian and broke up that breakaway nicely. A job well done. Good hockey IQ play by Derek Sutliff, who just turned 27 years old on Saturday. Minerva rattles it around the far wall. Caleb Cameron backhands a pass to Sutliff. A Las Vegas native will drop it to Larry Smith. His pass broken up by Madry. Sutliff with another good defensive play to intercept the pass. He backhands it off the end wall. Larry Smith chisels it along. Dangerous opportunity for Madry, who fires right into the glove of Kevin Etma, who bails out his team brilliantly with that glove save. Excellent stop by the Adrian College product. Probably his best save of this game up till now. We're scoreless through the first half of period one. We'll be right back, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
Shout out to Debbie Miner, who's watching from Tennessee tonight. She'll be in Knoxville tomorrow cheering for the Mayhem. Thanks, Debbie, for tuning in. We appreciate your support on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Anyone else who would like a shout out, go ahead and tweet at us. Be sure to tag us at Macon Mayhem or just leave a comment in the chat on our YouTube broadcast. We're halfway through period one, scoreless at the Macon Centreplex. The faceoff will take place in the left circle in the Macon zone, the circle to the right of Kevin Entma. Behind the net it goes. The pass is reversed by Mitchell Mueller, intercepted by Trask. Sumalides springs a backhand pass beautifully onto the tape of Trask. Seamer takes the shot, or rather that was Fiella. It was turned aside by Porter. Seamer centers for Trask, was well covered. He will deposit it back inside of the trapezoid. Seamer is brought down. A penalty forthcoming against Knoxville, and for the first time tonight, there will be a power play, and it will belong to Macon, tripping the infraction called against Knoxville's leading scorer, Scott Cothrell, who will head to the sin bin. He was listed as a player to watch tonight, Scott Cothrell. He had been on a 6-game point streak until he met with Huntsville last weekend. Knoxville's penalty kill this season, best in the SPHL, has been all year. 92%, north of 92%, which is pretty darn close to perfect. Lucas Bombardier able to shovel it hard out to the neutral zone. Jake Trask there intercepting it. Danny Caesar will pop one over the blue line. John Seamer pulls up and waits. Seamer for Stathis. Stathis back to the blue line. Jake Trask with a mishandle. It squeaks back over the line, and the Mayhem reset. Nick Minerva, the lone defenseman out there for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem. He turns back up ice. Jake Trask wheels behind his own net to restart. Trask leaves it. Here comes Caesar. Slips away from one, gets it over the blue line onside. Trask will feed it off the half wall on the far side. It's intercepted behind the net and blasted around the boards on the near side by Blake O'Neill all the way down. And Kevin Entma will make a play as the Mayhem's top power play unit changes and switches personnel. John Seamer receives it from Entma. Zach Urban's out there now. He will be the power play quarterback of the second unit. Dakota Kletcha wheels behind his own net as Urban takes it fourth and gains the blue line. From his derriere is able to spin one in behind the net nicely. Marcus Ortiz. Urban holds it at the line. Nice catch to keep the play going. He will feed Soper. Bounces over his stick. It's whacked around the wall. Sutliff able to keep it alive just barely. So he will settle it back down and feed it in behind the net yet again. Soper feeds it off the half wall. Back to the point. Urban taps it along for his roommate Dakota Kletcha. Kletcha returns it nicely for Urban, who does a deep move to get around a check. Soper from the goal line delays. Soper back to the right point for Dakota Kletcha. Returns it for Soper at the outer hash marks to the far circle. Soper reverses it down to Ortiz, who sends it over. Nice pass to Sutliff. Between his skates, Sutliff salvages possession. Back to the line for Urban, whose shot is stopped by Cody Porter. Ortiz has it. Calling for it, Kletcha. The pass just outside of his reach. Kletcha resets. Urban hammers a one-timer on goal. Stopped by Porter. Bounces into the far corner. Whacked up the wall, held in the zone again. Kletcha fires at the net, stopped by Porter. Ortiz delivers a huge body check in the far corner on Ricky Kramer, but the Knoxville Icebears have returned to full strength. And the Mayhem have fallen to 0 for 1 on the Wild Wing Cafe power play tonight. Nick DiNicola stops right half wall. It's scraped back to the line and beyond it as delivering that body check. Open ice hit was Danny Caesar on Chandler Madry. And now it's brought down the left wing side by DiNicola, who's watched carefully by Larry Smith, textbook defenseman from the Niagara grad. Bounces back in behind the net. Nick Minerva broke up the centering attempt, but the Mayhem not out of the woods yet, as turning the corner is Nick DiNicola centering for Cothrell, whose shot is blocked by Smith, and it flies out of play. Excellent defensive shift by the Mayhem's number 2, Larry Smith. Good start for him. The criminal justice degree from Niagara University leads the Mayhem in plus minus with an impressive plus 19 rating on the campaign. Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas described him as the most improved player from last season. Faceoff takes place to the left of his glove side. Pops back into the neutral zone immediately following the draw. It's wired back in. Jarrett Cupp turns and leaves it for Caleb Cameron, who can't clear it. Gave it right away to Locans. His shot is blocked by Fayella. He will flop one over the blue line. Doug Rose intercepts it, bounces it at the net. Kevin Etma will make the play. He leaves it for Cupp. Cupp allows Cameron to pass through. He sends it right up the middle, and Sean Lynch will just redirect it into the Knoxville zone. Seen a few nice plays by Sean Lynch, not trying to overcomplicate things. He's just barely gaining the red line, just chipping it into the Knoxville zone, allowing his team to complete line changes. Smart few plays by the rookie out of Utica College. 24-year-old Sean Lynch playing his 5th game with the Mayhem this season. Here's an opportunity for Seymour, point blank, scores! John Seymour has gotten the Mayhem on the board first. It's his 15th goal on the season, and the Mayhem have a 1-0 lead. Well, it didn't take long for the AAA line to pack a punch. Just a few shifts in, and they're already on the score sheet. If I'm not mistaken, that was his two counterparts who who had the assists on the goal. His two components on the AAA line, and Jake Trask and Stathis. Zach Urban scoops it up from his own slot and will clear it out to the red line in front of the benches. Worked up to Lucas Bombardier, who kicks it up to his stick and is hit pretty hard. Zach Urban will wheel it around. Intercepted by Liam Cairns, who puts it in front. Intercepted by Marcus Ortiz, and here he comes down the left wing side. Ortiz over the blue line, steps into the slot and fires. Porter the save, but he bobbles it. Hacked at the net by Kletcha, stopped by Porter with the pads. And it's cleared out to the point on the far side. Caleb Cameron twists it back towards the net. The Ice Bears want to get a line change, but can't do it as Ortiz will drop it behind the Knoxville cage for Caleb Cameron. He will chip it back to the point for Larry Smith, sent back in behind the net. Ortiz has Cameron out in front, trying to find a way to pass it to him. He will just turn it at the net from a tough angle. And Cody Porter making a smart play to just cover it up. He knew his team needed to get a line change. And his name is John Seymour. He scored the 15th goal of the season, has gotten the Mayhem on the board first. The Mayhem, when scoring the first goal this season, 18-6-1. They're 10-3-0 on home ice. Exactly 4:59 remains in period one. 1-0 the score in favor of Macon. Just within the margin for our final media timeout of period one. We've got Allie McDonald tuned in on our YouTube broadcast. Thanks for tuning in, Allie. We appreciate your support on YouTube.com. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast, and we hope you're enjoying your Friday night. Thanks for tuning in. The ensuing face-off will take place in the left circle in the Knoxville zone. To the right side of Cody Porter. First time the Mayhem are seeing the likes of him this season. Doug Rose shovels a pass off the far half wall. Caleb Cameron delivers a nice healthy hit on Garrett Sargis. Cleared back into the zone from the red line by Nick Minerva. Danny Caesar really throwing the bodies around at his former teammates left and right. He delivered another hit on another former teammate in David Branchik. Then he holds possession at the right half wall. His shot is turned aside, however, by Porter, who will take another whistle. Danny Caesar played with the Knoxville Icebears for 4 seasons. He was an alternate captain there, played 152 games for the organization, 43 goals, 88 assists, 131 points, and a plus 19 rating, Danny Caesar, while he was in Knoxville. And you're seeing him now, number 16 in the Navy sweaters, dead smack in the middle of your screen. He will attempt a very sharp angle shot, missed well wide of the net, and it's been cleared out from the defensive zone by Madry. Backhanded off the end wall by Jarrett Cup, redirected out to center by Caleb Cameron. Cameron stays on it, but overskates it. Madry will just fly one into the zone. Cathrell is in pursuit of it against Jarrett Cup. Cup beats him out in the foot race. Jake Fiella. Danny Caesar under duress. Will just reverse it calmly to Jake Fiella, who will give it now to Jarrett Cup. Cup outlets it up to Derek Sutliff. He will send it to the opposing blue line where it's gloved down and whacked the other way by Spencer Metcalf. Cup, Fiella. Floats a pass up to Jake Trask on the opposite side. Sumilidis reverses a pass into the slot. Trask hoping to get to it, but he was beaten to it by Blake O'Neill. Pops back across the Knoxville blue line, and Seth Ronsberg will recover in the neutral zone. Ronsberg over to Zach Urban, the Calgary native. Returns it to Ronsberg, and from the red line, he will backhand a pass to Stathis Sumilidis, who sends it down the left wall for Jake Trask. Been cleared out of play into the Knoxville penalty box. The Mayhem is everywhere All-State bonding penalty box. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Jake Trask trying to lead the league in goals this season. He was close to leading the league in points this season. Right now he's last season rather. He's tied currently with 3 other players for the league lead in goals with 24 on the campaign. Last season he was beaten only in the points department by Knoxville's Berkeley Scott, who had the edge on him by a single point, 70-69. Stanislav Zhykov is caught from behind by the back-checking Sean Lynch, who will float a backhand pass through the neutral zone, intending it for Ortiz rather, but it never reached him. And Ronsberg will commandeer this puck from behind his own goal line, but his pass is outside of the reach of Lynch, and the Mayhem will be guilty of an icing call. That icing has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. We've got 2 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the first period. The Mayhem have a 1-0 lead, courtesy of John Seamer's 15th goal of the 2018-19 season. Seamer scored a lot of goals, but his primary production has been from assists this season. He ranks 3rd in the SPHL, behind only Peoria's Ben Blasco and Huntsville's Cy Nukovic in that department. 34 assists on the campaign for John Seamer, who's been an exceptional distributor of the puck this season. Sean Lynch sent it into the Knoxville zone. He tries to follow up what he started. He fights for it along the half wall against Liam Cairns. Ortiz emerges with it, steps into the slot. Ortiz fires. Chest save is made by Porter. And the puck's been cleared out to the neutral zone. Stanislav Zhykov slides it in across the Macon goal line. Larry Smith fetches it. Zhykov takes it away. We'll drop it back to Lucas Bombardier, the Knoxville captain. Floats it over to the far half wall. Larry Smith is there to scoop it up. He will try to swivel his way away from Bombardier. Now Sutliff gets an opportunity, trying to split the D. The Mayhem guilty of a penalty. Sutliff had an opportunity. He will not be happy about this. There's lots of pushing and shoving taking place in front of the benches. And we thought this was going to be a sort of a no-nonsense type of game, just a playoff game where they would just play hockey and fight for some valuable points in the standings. Maybe not. I think everyone's sort of telling me not so fast with that theory. So we will have offsetting minors here, if I'm not mistaken, against Jimmy Soper and some culprit from Knoxville. We're not sure who yet. Soper will head to the Beyond Taboo tattoo penalty box. He will be guilty of interference, it looks like, so maybe not. Maybe it will only be against Macon. Now it looks like that will be the case, so the Ice Bears will get their first power play. And that's something that'll drive coaches crazy. Offensive zone penalties. When your team has possession of the puck, that's the worst time to take a penalty. The best time is when the penalty impedes something that the other team was doing to break up a scoring chance. For example, on a point-blank chance that the opposing team has, if you get your stick in there on him and slash him when he might score, that's a good penalty. But this was not a well-timed penalty, as Derek Sutliff had an opportunity on the Knoxville net at the other end. Stathis Sumilidis is able to outrace Doug Rose. As a result, the Mayhem able to kill off a few valuable seconds. Stanislav Zhykov to Doug Rose. Lots of firepower on this Knoxville man advantage. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Closing in on the 100-second warning of period 1. It's worked back to the blue line. Doug Rose distributes it to his left. It's Locan's left circle. His shot is blocked. Rolls up the slot. Sumulidis nearly had a shorthanded breakaway, but Rose said no to that. Zhykov, right circle. McVeigh is in the slot. He lets it go through to Locan's. Doug Rose at the blue line, at the apex of the umbrella. One-timer by Zhykov is well off the mark, missing wide of the blocker's side. Locan's above the left circle. He will send it over. Nice pass. Zhykov rings it off the post, the outer side of the right post. Excellent pass. One European to another, the Latvian to the Russian. Doug Rose will recover at center ice with half of Knoxville's power play having expired. Zhykov is still out there. He will roll one through the skates of Cameron. It's played by Doug Rose, who swivels down the right wall. Doug Rose pops it into the corner, hoping to get it to Nick DiNicola. The ex-Pensacola Ice Flyer is outnumbered, and Seymour will roll it out towards Caleb Cameron, who will just send it into the Knoxville zone. The Mayhem pretty tired here near the end of a shift. Bit of a mishandle there. Point-blank opportunity for Lynch, who puts it off the side of the net. Mishandled by Porter nearly gave Sean Lynch his first professional goal. Zhykov for Cathrell. Cathrell put it over the blue line, and it's carried into the zone by Liam Cairns. 15 seconds remain on this PK. It's been blasted all the way down, and Scott Porter maybe will, or rather Cody Porter will maybe think twice before leaving his net this time. Crisis barely averted for Knoxville not long ago. Cathrell centers it. Cairns shoots and scores. Right as the Mayhem had returned to full strength. Will this count as a shorthanded, or rather a power play goal? I don't think so. I believe this will be an even strength goal. We'll say that the Mayhem killed that off because Soper had left the box. As soon as he set foot on the ice, he was given a minus. 6.7 seconds remain in the first period. Liam Cairns, one of our players to watch for tonight. Has scored his 15th goal on the season, and we're all tied up at 1. And that'll just about do it for period 1, and that's a buzzkill for the Mayhem as they head into the first intermission because they played a pretty darn good first period, and unfortunately will not have anything to show for it now as we're right back to where we started. Liam Cairns with the goal. We're 92% certain that that was at even strength, so that's what we'll call it for now. There might be a... See, I'm not exactly sure if it's considered a power play goal immediately when the 2 minutes expire or when the player sets foot on the ice. There's about a half a second or so from the time it takes when the power play ends to when the player sets foot on the ice again. But I'm fairly certain the rule is once the 2 minutes expire, whether or not Jimmy Soper was back on the ice or not, it is an even strength goal. So Liam Cairns, if I'm not mistaken, will get that goal at even strength. The Mayhem and the Icebears both 1 for 1 on their penalty kills through period 1. Shots on goal favoring Knoxville 10-8. We hope you've enjoyed that first 20-minute segment, folks. We hope you're enjoying your Friday night wherever you might be. We're having fun here at Cherry Blossom Night, Fan Appreciation Night at the Macon Centreplex, the final home game of the 2018-19 season. In case you missed it, folks, we'll play the Monday morning interview we had this past week with Mayhem forward Caleb Cameron. That's coming your way next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Till then, keep it right here, folks. 1-1 your score here at the Mac Shack. We'll be back in a moment.
What is it going to...
Gotta remind me of that earlier. 100.9 the Creek Row Music Row Radio.
Well, we got you, though.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Yes.
Creekside Morning, Sony Doolin, Charles Davis. It's time for our Making Mayhem segment for the week. Alex Von Coydle is here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So got a big game this Friday. Last home game of the regular season.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Fan Appreciation Night, Friday night. I'll be your in-game host.
Okay. All right. Now,
Now-
what is it going to entail, fan appreciation? What is y'all going to be giving the fans besides a great hockey game?
It's a surprise.
Oh, okay. Cool. I like surprises. Mm-hmm. I like surprises.
Just suffice to say that our fans will be appreciated.
Very well.
Fan
That's corporate
appreciation.
speak for we haven't got it all worked out yet.
Is that what that means?
That's what-
okay.
that's what that
I didn't know
means.
that's what that meant.
Right.
Okay.
Trust me, I use that all the time. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Hey,
It's
out
a
of this
surprise.
world, though.
You figured it out.
Yeah. Can't put anything past me, Alex. Sharp this morning, buddy. So we've got Friday night's game. Then we have a Saturday game away at Knoxville. Knoxville, as we call it. It's going to be kind of an interesting week, you were telling me?
Yeah, we've got a couple of players who've stepped in for us and done a really good job in the short time they've been here. One we traded for at the trade deadline, and Danny Caesar, who scored his first goal with the Mayhem on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, congrats to him. It was a nice goal. And then Marcus Ortiz, who just debuted for us this past weekend down in Pensacola, he was somebody that we brought in who was actually dropped from Knoxville, and we picked him up off waivers. And a lot of teams were scrambling to get him, and we were lucky to be able to bring him in. So, they both played in Knoxville for at least 2 seasons. So I think Ortiz was there for 2 seasons. Caesar was there for 4 seasons. So
so some inside knowledge.
Yeah,
you might say
that and some bad blood. So.
Okay, all right. He likes bad blood.
It'll be we're gonna have them on line change tomorrow night to sort of preview the weekend. So
tomorrow night, line change, the Coach Leo Thomas Coaches Show downstairs at the Creek Stage gets underway at 6:30. Get there at 6.
Yeah, get there.
Get your order in.
Get your drink.
Get you a drink. Travis was slammed last week.
Yeah, which we liked.
Waiting tables out there. It was it was packed up last week, man.
Yeah, I texted you, trying to levy some favor with the rookery people to get another person in there to help Travis out.
Yeah, I got no pull.
No
pull whatsoever.
I
man.
got nothing.
Cannot help you with that.
They throw him in the fire out there, Alex. That's what they do, man.
Poor Travis.
I don't have a dog in that fight.
He works so hard.
He really
I
does.
feel
Travis
so bad
does a
for
good
him.
job. But last Tuesday was packed up. This week's going to be good too. And you got the new Mayhem players, former Knoxville Icebears. Why don't they just call them polar bears? That's what they are.
That's what they are.
You ever heard of an ice bear?
Ain't no ice bear. It's a polar bear.
There's a team in Orlando called the Solar Bears.
What? How you gonna be a?
It don't even make sense.
Well,
it makes sense.
It's a polar bear with sunglasses on with a sun in the background.
Don't know, everybody know polar bears don't wear sunglasses.
That don't work. brought a player with you this morning, Caleb Cameron. Good morning, Caleb. How are you?
Not bad. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Little town called Sunridge, Ontario. It's about 3 or 4 hours north of Toronto.
Okay.
We call it the Sticks.
The Sticks. All right.
Lots of lakes, lots of forests, so you can get lost out there pretty easy.
That sounds like Putnam County. Sounds
just a little colder.
Just a little colder.
It's Canada.
Now, if I had to guess, you started playing hockey around 3 years old.
Yeah.
That seems to be the going thing.
2 to 4. I started skating when I was 2 years old, and then started playing when I was 4. My mom was a terrific hockey player, and then her father, my grandfather, played professional over in Europe. So
nice.
I kind of got it from them. So started out early.
Now, that's a little shocking. You don't think of moms as being hockey players.
Yeah, no, my dad was a football player. So
Jesus.
she actually taught him how to play hockey.
Lord.
Yeah, loved it.
So your mama was the truth then.
Yeah, she was a good hockey player. But
Don't mess with Caleb's mom.
Pretty much.
Mess with Caleb's mom.
She will check you harder than the football player will.
That's exactly right. So I got a question because I've noticed as I've seen pictures of kids playing hockey and kids ice skating, what's up with the PVC walker? Did you start on that?
I think. I mean, I couldn't really tell you. I don't think so. I think they pretty much
They just put you on
strapped
skates.
the boots on and just shoved you out there.
If you fall, you fall.
Yeah,
Get up.
Good luck. No, I think that's just another technique that people are using these days just for balance and everything like that, right?
So what they do? It's like a walker.
It looks like a
on
walker,
ice?
but it's made out of PVC pipe.
Yeah, and it just slides.
yeah.
Just slides along the ice.
Wow. That's why I'm gonna need that to learn how to skate there.
I was going to say, I'm going to need one of those for next season. Doing the games out on the ice, I'm going to need one of those PVC walkers.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get me one, Alex.
I mean, I don't care. I look crazy doing it.
Look,
Big
I'm just
6'4"
gonna say-
black man with a walker.
I'm just going to say it has been, and I may be jinxing myself because I still have to do the game Friday, but I've not fallen on the ice once.
Oh, you go bust your ass this week. You go bust your ass this week.
Yeah,
I'm knocking for you right now, knocking hard. Yep.
I've not fallen yet. Caleb, how do you like Macon? How many years have you played for the Mayhem? Is this your first season or?
No, this is my second.
Second?
My girlfriend and I love it. It's really become, a second home to us. We ended up actually adopting a dog from Macon, so we have
very
now we
nice.
have a little root here. Yeah, so
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, Stanley.
Adopting the dog.
I'm applauding your girlfriend on that because I assume it was her idea.
no, actually.
See,
it
give
was-
man some let the boy Cal some credit here.
We'll applaud
Give some
Caleb.
credit here.
Yeah, no, we love it. I mean, when you can play hockey in a town that you can also golf at the in the same day.
Like a little golf, huh?
Get by the pool, or do something like that where it's not always snowing. I think you've pretty much lived the dream.
That is the upside.
Yeah,
That is the
exactly.
upside. Downside is pollen.
Yeah, a lot of that, sir.
Yeah, and we have a black car, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not this week. You got
Breaking that off every day then.
hit the car wash once a week.
Oh, yeah. So Friday night, 7:35 puck drop, fan appreciation night. Mayhem taking on the Knoxville Icebears, the last home game of the season. Now, Alex, I talked about this last week. I don't know if maybe I spoiled something I shouldn't. How do we look on getting home games for the playoffs?
So right now we are. What? So we are. I think
Positive thoughts.
Positive thoughts.
Caleb.
we're the 7th seed right now. Trying to, but it's really tight. I mean, we're just
Yeah.
a few points out of the 4th seed, which would give us home ice advantage in the first round. So that's what we're gunning for the next couple of weeks. It's looking like the first playoff games are probably going to be that April 12th, 13th weekend.
Okay.
Maybe it's 13th, 14th. Can't remember, but
It'd be 13th, 14th.
That's right.
Saturday, Sunday.
Thanks.
Nope. Then
You know,
12th, 13th.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I see this happening. The Mayhem are going to go on a tear this week and get the number 4 position so that they have home games on the 13th.
Yeah.
And then
well,
that just adds to everything
Adds
else.
to everything else that
that's
we
going
have to
on.
do. Great.
On the 13th.
either way, though, we are guaranteed at least one home playoff game at the very least.
Okay,
so
very
that's
cool. All right,
that's
so we'll
good
get
news.
one.
Yeah.
All right.
See, power of positive thinking, Caleb.
Oh yeah, no, hey, always positive.
All right. So Friday night, 7:35, fan appreciation night. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Caleb, good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here's music from Jackie Green on the Creek.
Trying to do it more for when we're in playoffs and trying to get a feel of how our lineup should be, or look at those top 3 or 4 teams. There's no really big, heavy, tough guy who's going to be fighting. You know what I mean? So, just trying to get a gauge on stuff like that.
Don't be shy, guys.
Stathis, can you say making mayhem in 6 languages?
I don't know. I don't think that I improved that much.
No, I think he did get faster, though, for sure. He
Yeah.
was flying this weekend. So.
Can you say it again?
Is there anything that you learned up there that you brought back here? Like the way they prepared, anything like that?
Not really. I'm just I don't know. It's the same thing for me. It doesn't matter what level I'm at. I'm just doing the same thing, my own thing, and I'm just focused on doing my own.
From several of the players. And what's the craziest prank that's ever been pulled on you in the locker room?
I don't think that anybody pranked me or anything this year.
They're all
Telling
scared
you,
of you, huh?
I'm telling you, it's crazy. There's no pranksters. Like, I played this game for so long, and when I played, like, there was 10, 12 pranks a day pretty much going on there.
Actually, I think Ryan Michael, our assistant coach, does the most of the pranks in the locker room.
That's crazy.
I could see that. Most of you guys missed the week that Seth Ronsberg was here. I think he was telling me that he actually jams bubble gum into people's gloves. Yeah. I wouldn't appreciate that one.
Not you.
This is for Stathis. When you were here before, you were a gentle giant. But when you came back as a real scrapper. What happened?
Gentle giant.
I mean, you got thrown out of the game.
I don't know. I feel like every time against this team, we most of the scrums or fights are against this team every year, and then I don't know why is that, but I remember last year the team brawl we had against them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I feel like every time we play against this team, there's something going on, and I don't think that's gonna be like that against the other teams.
Was that the running off the ice incident we had?
What's that?
Was that when you got ran off the ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is for Blair. You actually got to coach in a game earlier this year, which I imagine was probably a kind of interesting experience. Could you tell us more about what that was like, being the head coach for a game?
Scared to death. I will say this, being out there, I have a whole new level of respect. Not that I ever had a lack of it, but just being out there, the game speed, calling out lines, having to make those split-second decisions constantly. You know, who's going out, who messed up, who do we need to put out, just talking to mics the whole time. It was pretty wild. I was so frustrated we lost that game because it was such a close, competitive game, but it was something I've always wanted to do and something that I'll definitely behold.
Larry said you did a good job.
Huh?
Larry said you did a good job, so there's that.
Larry did?
Larry did, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's nice of you.
episode
Thank
4,
you.
I think.
And this one's for Coach, and I know he's going to get tired of me asking this every week. But 20 shots or so on goal, is that going to be enough to carry us through the playoffs?
20 shots?
Average.
It could. I mean, it could. That's kind of how that game was. I mean, I think in playoffs also, it's going to be tight defensive battles like that. So I think we only gave up 20 also or something that game. So, I mean, you'll probably see more games like that for sure leading into playoffs. So I'll take 20 rather than giving up 40. So.
How much of a penalty is it for accidentally boarding a ref?
We know there's only 1 year left.
Towards that, you know, the first, going back a little bit, the first year we took a little dip from the first into the second year, but from then we've been steadily growing. Bob's really happy here. He loves the fan base. And we want to be here long term. We do know that, so we're going to try to knock out this extension and hopefully be here for another 5 years, 10 years or more. Yes, sir. David Aiello, yes, sir. You know, he is. I will say, I know a lot of people saw in the news prior to Spectra coming that we didn't have the best relationship with Spectra. Funny story, they brought in the same GM we had in Augusta. Me and Bob looked at each other and just went, oh, crap. And, you know, he left, went to Birmingham, and they brought in Dave Aiello. Wasn't sure how he was going to work out at first, but he's been tremendous. I know Sean met with him and me one day, and, you know, I think he's very receptive to ideas and improving. We know that there's things every game that need to improve. I would love for everybody to go up to the concessions and have 30-second interaction there and be back in their seat. You know, we're working on that, and I know there were some issues this past game, but every time he tries to make sure it gets better and better, and he brings ideas to me. Like we're trying to figure out how to do like a happy hour for season ticket holders properly to get y'all in there, have a little bit more benefits. So, and that was one of the things. He worked for UMass Lowell. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're a D1 school. They went from having very bad attendance to selling out under his leadership, and he's been helping us. He knows that more people in the building is good for us. It's good for them. It's good for the city. It's a win-win-win. But way back. Uh-huh. I didn't see that. What was it about? Was it when the basketball was there? Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, I'll get on to him about that. But I will tell you that the lights and sound were by our request. We got put in front of some other stuff. Obviously, they bought a new basketball court, but.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that intermission. Several interviews. We had one with Caleb Cameron on Monday mornings, The Creek, and then we had our last week's episode of Line Change, Episode 6, with Blair Floyd, the general manager of your Macon Mayhem, as well as Stathis Umalitis and Coach Thomas, of course. This last episode we were able to upload a few times. There were just issues. The audio kept cutting in and out, so I don't think we're ever going to publish that, unfortunately. But, yeah, it's too bad that that was the case, because our guests just happened to be Danny Caesar and Marcus Ortiz. But have no fear, folks. I'm sure there's lots of Knoxville fans tuned in on the air who'd like to get some thoughts from Ortiz and from Caesar on playing their former team, with whom they've made some great friends over the years, of course. We'll have interviews from the two of them regardless, coming your way during the second intermission of tonight's game. So don't worry, you'll still get to hear from Danny and from Marcus later on during this broadcast. Meanwhile, this game just about to be back underway at the Macon Centreplex. Is the last home game of the season for the Mayhem. John Seamer, for the second straight time, has won the first faceoff of the period, as he will dive to try to clear it, but Cothrell cuts it off. His shot is stopped. Backhand shot stopped by Entma, who is scrambling. The Mayhem dodging a bullet, as Stathis will bring it down the left wing side in front of the benches and deposit it into the left corner. Branchik is nudged up to the wall by Jake Trask, and here come the Ice Bears on the counterattack. A 3-on-3 develops. Cothrell backhands a pass up to Madry, and he will fight for it in the corner on the far side, and Garrett Sargis will accelerate towards it. He meets it, but Jake Trask takes it off his stick. Sumalitis has it swatted back by Lucas Bombardier, and it's fed now to Dakota Klecha, or rather Seamer, who redirects it into the Knoxville zone. Jarrett Cup will have to go get it inside of the corner on the far side. Now Fayella with an attempt to clear. He sends Danny Caesar a nice pass, 2-on-1. Caesar for Cameron. He shoots. Oh, and he knocks down the goaltender. This will be a shot on goal stopped by the pads of Cody Porter. And there will be a penalty here, I believe, called against Cameron, who just plowed over Cody Porter, and Michael Santaguida might have to start getting ready on the bench, because Porter took a hard hit on the way through. Derek Sutliff just had a wide open shot on goal, and I don't know if he realized that Cody Porter was completely down and out. Porter made the save when he was borderline unconscious there. Just certainly had the wind knocked out of him by Caleb Cameron, and he still made the save with his pad, so Cam won't get penalized for it. I'm not sure if the goal would have counted if Sutliff would have scored. Wow, what a strange sequence of events that was. So Liam Caron's able to beat Caleb Cameron on the draw. The two of them were teammates for years up at RIT. They're close friends. Number 9 in white, number 10 in navy blue. A backhand pass by Derek Sutliff reaches Caleb Cameron, who will spear it further into the Knoxville zone. He races in to get it. Oh, and is brought down. No penalty. He was brought to the ice by Ricky Kramer. Fighting for it near corner is Derek Sutliff, second on the Mayhem in goals this season with 18. Zach Urban has it knocked off his blade as it slides off the far half wall. Zhykov backhands a pass across the ice. Lucas Bombardier is sized up by Ronsberg. Sutliff up to Danny Caesar. Able to nudge it past the blue line. It's recovered by Spencer Metcalf in his own zone. He will give it now to Doug Rose. Rose trying to swivel away from Soper. Soper checked him. Rose got rid of it to Lucas Bombardier just in the nick of time. Metcalf is dispossessed of it by Marcus Ortiz, who goes in after it. He is hauled down by Metcalf in the near corner. Ortiz gets back onto his skates, fights for it, kicks it back up the wall. Couldn't quite get it past Nick DiNicola, who's cleared it past Nick Minerva. McVeigh is in the F1 on the forecheck. Larry Smith Can't hoist it off the boards and out to center the way he wanted to. The Mayhem not out of the woods yet as McVeigh gets the pass in the slot. Fires. Glove save is made by Kevin Entma, just barely getting a piece of it with his glove. Now Locans will kick it up to his stick. Backhands it to the side of the net. Picked off by Jimmy Soper, who can't clear. Locans intercepted it. And he will feed it to David Branchick. Left circle. Back to the line. DiNicola sends it over to O'Neill, whose shot is punched aside by Entma. The puck bounces it back up to the left point. Rattled back in behind the goal line. Jimmy Soper intercepts the centering pass and will show tremendous poise as he clears it out to Marcus Ortiz. Ortiz leaving it for Nick Minerva. Minerva from the neutral zone will send it over the crossbar. Bounces off the backboards. John Siemer is surrounded by purple sweaters. Stathis Sumalitis plays the body. Locans tries to shovel it out of the zone. Sumalitis and Ortiz blocking it, but he's eventually able to win back possession and feed Garrett Sargis the pass. Locans receives the return down the left wing. He will reverse it back into the left circle. Sargis trying to gain some separation from Siemer and Fiala. Fiala bodies him off the puck. Doug Rose pinches down towards the Georgia orthopedic specialist's dashboard. John Siemer nudges it free, and here come the Mayhem. They've got a 3-on-2. Clear cut from center ice in. Cup rolls it ahead. Jake Trask catches up to it. Back to Cup. He's in. Can't pull the trigger. He was in too tight. Jarrett Cup, I don't think was expecting that return pass from Jake Trask. And when you play with Trask, you've got to be ready at all times, because he's usually a step or two ahead of pretty much everybody. The Mayhem have just cleared it back in behind the Knoxville net. We're approaching the quarter mark of period 2. 15:45 yet to play. Charlie Granath. Here's an opportunity for Cathrell. Wide open, left circle, shoots. Entma the glove save, and he pounces on the rebound with his glove on top of the crease. Excellent save on Knoxville's top scoring player, Scott Cathrell. Trying to get his 13th on the season, but Entma said no with his glove. Kevin Entma with a pair of outstanding games down in Pensacola last weekend. Made his professional debut 1 week ago and stopped 31 of Pensacola's 33 shots. Unfortunately, the Mayhem did not score. So Liam Cairns in a rematch with a good buddy of his, Caleb Cameron, in the left circle in the Mayhem zone. Friends off the ice, enemies on it tonight. Liam Cairns and Caleb Cameron. Seth Ronsberg, back to Zach Urban. The ex-Toledo Walleye. Out of Ronsberg again. He will feed it into the neutral zone for Cameron, who will chip it into Knoxville territory. Blast it around the wall to the near side. It's cut off by Sutliff. He will center it. Cameron will shoot. He scores! Caleb Cameron! It's 2-1 Macon! Cameron with his 9th goal on the season, set up brilliantly from the corner by Derek Sutliff. And it's a 2-1 game. Great hand-eye coordination and poise displayed by number 10 in Navy. Held it on his stick just long enough to wait for Cody Porter to sort of shrink down a little bit and decrease in size. The moment a goaltender does that, you've got more net to shoot at, and Cameron just ripped it under the crossbar. That was essentially a bar-down snipe by Caleb Cameron, who has scored his 9th goal of the season, first in a while for him. Definitely a feel-good goal for Caleb Cameron. Here comes Kletcha. After intercepting it at center, he backhands a pass to Ortiz. Can't get a shot off. The Icebears intercept it and commence a counterattack the other way. McVeigh backhands a pass up the right side. Locans across the blue line. Here's a chance for DiNicola. His shot is blocked. Loose puck in the crease. Flutters into the corner now on the near side. DiNicola weaves back up the wall on the left side of the ice. And from the circle, he will feed it to Locans up to the line. It's sent from McVeigh to Branchick. McVeigh gets a chance in the slot. Out to DiNicola. Off the half wall on the far side. DiNicola is knocked off of possession by Larry Smith. It's recovered by McVeigh. Centered into the deep slot. One-time blast by O'Neill is off the mark as Ortiz will take it over. He's at the end of a shift, but he goes 1-against-1 regardless against O'Neill. He delays, waits for some reinforcements to arrive from the Macon bench, and O'Neill just flattens Ortiz in the far corner. Try to recover possession. Knoxville's got a few tired bodies out there. David Branchick is one of them, but he's able to clear it and we'll head to the Knoxville bench. Zhykov weaves down the left wing side. He centers it, hoping for Karen. Swatted aside. Off the left half boards at Kareem's. Turning is Zhykov. He pulls the trigger, and it's stopped on top of the goal mouth by Kevin Etma. Nice butterfly save. Etma's been flawless so far in period 2. 2-1 your score in favor of Macon. Goals coming off the sticks of John Seamer and Caleb Cameron tonight. Knoxville's lone goal coming off the stick of Liam Cairns. Because we didn't do this during the first intermission, let's take a look around the SPHL for a a Hampton Inn and Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. Pensacola's in Roanoke tonight, 3-3 score late in period 2. Just over 100 seconds remaining in the middle stanza. Huntsville is hosting Quad City. The Storm up 1-0 over the Haddock at Von Braun Center late in the first period. The Evansville Thunderbolts in Peoria as well. A 1-1 score halfway through period 1, and Fayetteville is about to get underway in Birmingham. That wraps up your Hampton Inn and Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. Liam Cairns will counter John Seamer in the face-off circle to the right of Kevin Etma. Fayella sends it behind his own net. Jarrett Cupp's got it. His pass goes off a stick of Cairns, I believe, but it's recovered in the neutral zone by Seamer. He will cut over the blue line. He feeds it off to his left. The return pass, not quite in his wheelhouse. Goes back behind the net. Jarrett Cupp is sized up against the end wall by Charlie Granath. Seamer emerges with it. He will pop it back up to the line. Trask pulls the trigger. It's blocked. Caroms to Stathis. Seamer to the front of the net. Stathis protecting the puck. He will try to twist it back below the goal line. Intercepted was the clearing attempt from Sumalides, who delays. Sumalides tries to slide it over. It's broken up by the stick of Granath, and Granath will clear it. The Ice Bears were on a delayed offside, but they're good to go now as Granath kicks it to his D partner, and it's been cleared out of the zone by Ricky Kramer. Fayella will blast it back in, just wide of the net. Porter allows his team to do the stick handling here as it's been cleared up to Lucas Bombardier. The Knoxville captain is sized up by Sutliff, but he escapes with possession, then centers. It's picked off by Ronsberg. Caesar gets rid of it before taking a big check, and as a result, the Mayhem could get a 3-on-2. Cameron weaving wide, centering, hoping for Caesar. It's broken up and cleared out to the blue line and beyond that as Bombardier will commence the counterattack. From the left wing, he will deposit it behind the Macon net. Stanislav Zhykov knocked off possession. Bombardier centers for Cairns. It was at his skates. The Mayhem have cleared it out to the Knoxville bench. Caleb Cameron will just chip it in below the Knoxville goal line, and Cody Porter will play it out to the corner on the far side. 12:10 to go in the second period. 2-1 Macon is your score. It's dropped off by Doug Rose. Rose sends it up to the right wing side. It's fluttered out now towards Scott Cathrell. The Mayhem played that with a high stick, and as a result, the whistle blows, and we get a stoppage. Saw Jarrett Cupp not wanting to play that puck. He decided he would rather do that and get a face-off rather than risk a quick attack developing for Knoxville. They had a lot of numbers storming into the zone, so Cupp hesitated, decided to just whack at it with his stick. The Mayhem will go to a defensive zone face-off here. Jimmy Soper against Scott Cathrell. Puck drops. Soper wins the draw cleanly. As Larry Smith has it behind his own net, will feed it out to Sean Lynch. Took a bit of a spill. Minerva intercepts the pass that was sent towards the front of the net. Smith will wrap one around. Sean Lynch is there. He's pinned up to the half wall on the far side by Chandler Madry. A couple of players fresh out of college. The Mayhem guilty of a penalty here. They're going to be going back to the box. Cross-checking the call against Larry Smith. He's not gone to the penalty box too often this season. Just 31 PIMs on the defenseman. Normally defensemen have more penalty minutes than forwards do. Cross-checking the infraction against the Buffalo natives. So the Mayhem back to the PK for the second time tonight. They are 1 for 1 on the penalty kill, though Knoxville's lone goal came 5 seconds rather, after Macon's power play, or rather their penalty kill expired back in period 1. There were 6 seconds left on the clock when that goal was scored. And it was an even strength goal. I was able to confirm it. More time had expired than I originally thought. Liam Cairns backhands a pass to Lucas Bombardier. Dispossessed of it at center ice by Caleb Cameron, who has just backhanded it down the length. Here's Spencer Metcalf up to Liam Cairns, who slices through the neutral zone and fires glove side. Entma makes the save. Not this time, says Kevin Entma, who was beaten by Liam Cairns on a pretty similar play to that one back in period 1 in the closing seconds of the first stanza. Entma has adapted. Anthony McVeigh will take the ensuing face-off. He's a good friend of Sean Lynch's. Played 4 seasons at Utica College and was 1 grade ahead of Sean Lynch. Number 10 in white taking the face-off now against Jimmy Soper. McVeigh jumped the gun one too many times, so he's been booted from the face-off dot by linesman Derek Calise. Puck finally drops, and Soper was able to get the better of Mitchell Mueller on that draw. Here's an opportunity for Lynch, racing down the left side. Lynch delays to the backhand, loses the puck, and a penalty is going to be called against Knoxville for a hook. Lynch didn't have an opportunity really to get that shot off, or maybe a cross-check against Knoxville, so tip your cap to Sean Lynch, who has just drawn a penalty for Macon with that blazing speed of his, and we're back to even strength. Doug Rose to the box, 40 seconds into Macon's penalty, and that will cancel out the remainder of Knoxville's power play, so the Mayhem have improved to 2 for 2 on the night on the man advantage. Excuse me, on the PK, I should say. They will get a 40-second man advantage of their own 80 seconds from now. John Seamer, Jake Trask out there for the forwards for Macon. Jarrett Cupp and Zach Urban on defense. David Branchick from below his own goal line. Slides it over to his defensive partner, Ricky Kramer. Kramer out to Scott Cathrell. His pass is intercepted by Jarrett Cupp. Cupp will pass it to himself. Couldn't quite shovel it over to John Seamer, which he wanted to do. Nick DiNicola lost it back to Cody Porter. Porter's got it, or rather, DiNicola did behind his own net, and scooping it up is Scott Cathrell, who weaves with it in his own zone. 45 seconds remain on the penalty called against Larry Smith. After that expires, the Mayhem will get an abbreviated power play. Cathrell taking it down into the corner on the near side, sending it into the slot for DiNicola, who's knocked off the puck by John Seamer. Seamer reverses it to Jarrett Cupp. Cupp's got it in the far corner now. Trask through center ice, accelerates over the Knoxville blue line, and we'll get it right back from John Seamer behind the Ice Bears net. His pass deflects back up to the point. Dakota Klecha is there to collect it. He will float it back to his roommate, Zach Urban. Urban returning it for Dakota Klecha. 3 seconds remain on Larry Smith's penalty. Ortiz over the Knoxville blue line is knocked off the puck. And here comes O'Neill the other way, left circle. He fires, it flutters over the crossbar. Locans is there on the far side. It will kill off a few more seconds on Macon's shortened power play. This Mayhem power play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. It's only got 22 seconds remaining on it before Doug Rose is let out of the sin bin. Minerva stick handles in across the Ice Bears blue line. The Mayhem are on side. They didn't seem to be aware of that fact for a while. Cameron forcing the issue, forechecking, trying to win possession for the Mayhem. Ortiz blocks the clearing attempt, shoots, glove save, rebound bounces into the right corner. Ortiz robbed by his former team's goaltender, Cody Porter. Minerva, stutter step, still has the puck, slides it over. Sutliff with the shot, hits the side of the net, centers it back in front. They jam away at the puck, and it's stopped and brought out of there by the Ice Bears. Doug Rose, fresh out of the penalty box, racing down the right side from the circle, will shoot. And a glove save is made by Entma, who is unbeknownst to the puck's whereabouts. It's now at the right point, and Doug Rose redirects it into the left corner. On that point shot coming from Garrett Sargis. We're across the halfway point of regulation. 8.5 to play in the second period. 2-1 Macon is your score. Goals in this game coming from John Seamer, from Liam Cairns, and from Caleb Cameron in that order. Ortiz turns it in behind the net. He did not see Urban there, or he would have fed him the pass. Rolls it back out to center ice. Ronsberg chips it into Knoxville territory. Ronsberg. Urban. Ronsberg. Madry is forechecking. Sumalides receives it from his fellow Mayhem veteran Seth Ronsberg. Jake Trask, another one, will chip it into the Knoxville end. Whacked up the far wall for Madry, who will just pump it back behind his own net. Rattled in low now for Garrett Sargis, who has to twist with it. Sargis outlets it to his left for Lucas Bombardier, who will send the puck ahead. Here comes Madry. Gains the blue line. Will leave it for Bombardier, whose shot goes off a Macon skate. I believe it was Fayella. Now Jarrett Cup is flushed out from behind his own net. We'll leave it now for Fayella, who begins the breakout for Macon. Knoxville was in the middle of a line change. Caesar with a nice spinorama to elude his former teammate Scott Cothrell. John Seamer pursues it, far corner. O'Neill trips him up. Cothrell will get the return pass and motor down the right wing side. He's joined on his left by Spencer Metcalf. Puck sliding on the net, and Entma is able to jam it aside with his stick. Lowcans holds it in the zone from the left point. Is pickpocketed, and here come the Mayhem on a 2-on-1, possibly 3-on-1. Sutliff on his off wing, delays, shoots, stopped by Porter, and no rebound. Derek Sutliff deciding to just pull the trigger there rather than risk a pass. And Cody Porter was able to make the save, more importantly, to not concede a rebound. Sutliff did the right thing in that situation. He wasn't sure about the pass, so he decided to shoot. And if you're going to shoot on an odd man rush, folks, it's always best to shoot low. You shoot high, you risk missing the net, or you risk the goaltender waffle boarding it away with his blocker, or you risk the goaltender snagging it with his glove. But if you shoot low on an odd man rush, that dramatically increases the chances for a rebound opportunity. So Derek Sutliff, who's had a really strong defensive game tonight, also displaying some more of his hockey smarts with that low shot on goal. Unfortunately for him, Cody Porter beat him and was able to not give up a rebound. Yeah. .6:49 remain in the second period. The Mayhem up by a goal. They've scored a goal in each period. Knoxville's lone tally coming off the stick of Liam Cairns at the 1954 mark of period one. Cameron will be countered by Scott Cothrell in the offensive zone face-off. Cameron wins it. It's speared back to the point. Caesar twists it in behind the net. Doug Rose goes after it. Second in the SPHL among defensemen in scoring behind only Fayetteville's Travis Jake. It's brought across the blue line by Roberts Lowcans, whose shot is stopped by Kevin Entma. No rebound given up by the rookie netminder out of Adrian College. And some pushing and shoving takes place below the Macon goal line after that stop by Entma. Entma, one of the best goaltenders in Adrian College's history, was actually a starter over Dylan Kelly for many years that he was there. Dylan Kelly, the go-to netminder for Jesse Kalicki's squad, the Fayetteville Marksmen. Been a very heavily dependent upon goalie, I guess you could say, for the Marksmen this season. He's played in a lot of games. The Icebears able to snag possession following an offensive zone draw. Entma has to come up big with a low butterfly save on the backhand shot coming from Liam Cairns from pretty close in. Now Cairns will have to go race after it with 6:20 remaining in period two. He scoops it up in his own zone. Liam Cairns sauces it into the middle of the ice. Doug Rose returns it for him hotly. It lands on his stick. Cairns enters the Macon zone. Crosses into the corner from above the left circle. Has his shot blocked by Larry Smith, and the puck flies out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Again, folks, the Mayhem sitting in 7th place in the SPHL. With a win tonight, they could potentially leapfrog from 7th to 5th and possibly draw to within 4 points of Knoxville if they can beat them in regulation. That is the goal. Winning these games in regulation is almost just as important as winning these games, period, folks, because the Mayhem need to prevent Knoxville from gaining any points. As Ortiz from center ice will set up Lynch, whose shot is stopped. Rebound shot by Soper, whacked out of midair and cleared out of play. I think it was defenseman Ricky Kramer who got his stick on that follow-up shot by Jimmy Soper, causing the puck to fly off the protective netting and out of play. Flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. That opportunity was all brought on by the speed of Sean Lynch again. He gave Marcus Ortiz an opportunity as well. Ortiz and Caesar, two former Ice Bears, have had no shortage of opportunities tonight. Soper winning it back to Seth Ronsberg. Ronsberg will send it off the near corner. Lynch, or rather Soper, I beg your pardon. No, that is Lynch. Always go with your gut. Soper from the corner on the near side drops it off for Lynch, who will try to chip it back to Urban, but it's broken up by Zhykov, and the Russian will slice through center and will gain the blue line on the right side, has his backhander denied by Entma, then goes crashing into the end wall behind the Macon net. Does Stanislav Zhykov, and some pushes and shoves take place shortly thereafter. Liam Cairns and Zach Urban in a heated discussion. And Jimmy Soper gets in there as well to defend his fellow Canadian. Dakota Kletcha, it appears, missed a few shifts because of an equipment issue. We saw Bones running in after him, so it's good to see him back on the ice. Jake Fiala is under pressure by Nick DiNicola, I beg your pardon. And the Mayhem have gotten it out as Jarrett Cupp will redirect it into the right corner, and he's hit from behind, but he got the puck free. And the Ice Bears have just cleared it. They've got to hurry to get an odd man rush out of this. Locans brings it down the right side. He's met from behind by the back-checking Stathis Sumalitis. Locans sliding it up to the left point. Lots of space for a slap shot coming from Spencer Metcalf, but the shot was denied by Kevin Entma. Entma's had a flawless second period still. Inside of the final 5 minutes of play at the Macon Centreplex in period 2. 2-1 your score in favor of Macon. 4:58 remains in period 2. We're going to take a brief pause in the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Hope you're enjoying your Friday night, folks. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by New Lion and on YouTube.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today.
All right, so we're in the final 4:58 of play in period 2. Macon with a 2-1 advantage despite being outshot. It looks like that says 16-21 in favor of Knoxville. And the Ice Bears going to an offensive zone face-out, but they couldn't get the job done. The Mayhem have cleared it out to center, hoping that it's beyond that as Sutliff will enter the zone and leave it off. Here's Fiala receiving the pass, leaving it for Caleb Cameron, who sends it over. Nice pass. The one-timer is sent wide by Danny Caesar, who recovers and attempts a backhand centering pass broken up by the other 16, Ricky Kramer. And now it's Nick DiNicola who will slip away from Caleb Cameron. Knoxville is onside as DiNicola's shot rattles off the near corner stanchion. Caesar couldn't quite reach that pass. The Ice Bears retain possession of the puck as Cupp will recover it now. Over skates it, taken away by McVeigh, centered. And Mueller is dispossessed by Cupp, but there will be a penalty called against the Mayhem. I didn't see much contact there, but a slash will be called against Macon. I believe it will be Caleb Cameron, the culprit of that last slashing infraction. He will skate to the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box, and Knoxville will be going to its third power play of the night. Caleb Cameron now north of 60 penalty minutes this season. One of just two forwards now on the Mayhem who can say that. The only other being Marcus Ortiz. Now that Alexander Tallinn is gone, Zach Urban leads the Mayhem in penalty minutes this season with 118. Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning as it's shoveled into the zone over the Macon net by Spencer Metcalf. And it's been cleared promptly by Nick Minerva, but held in the zone nicely by the left glove of Metcalf as it goes off the skates of Lucas Bombardier, who's checked from behind by Minerva, who can't quite clear it. It'll be held. No, it will not. It bounces on Spencer Metcalf. That was an easier clear than the first one, but he couldn't keep it. Cairns is wide open, caught behind the defense. He will shoot. Blocker save made by Entma. And it careens into the corner on the far side. Larry Smith has lobbed it over all of the Ice Bears, hugging the far wall. Down into Knoxville territory it goes. 3:10 to go in the second period. 54 seconds remaining on Knoxville's third power play of this game. Metcalf gave it away to Seamer, who's got his head up, tried to spring Sumalitas on a shorthanded breakaway. Couldn't do it. Zhaikov motors into the zone. Right circle has his shot. Fought off by the shoulder of Entma. The puck goes out of play. That flying puck has been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Kevin Entma now with, looks like 21 saves on the night. Pensacola and Roanoke still tied up at the second intermission up at Berglund Arena. Evansville has taken a lead over the Peoria Rivermen. Fayetteville trailing Birmingham 1-0, and Huntsville trailing Quad City 1-0. Puck's been cleared out of the Macon zone. Sumalitas has a step from the right side. He will drop it off. Seamer's got an opportunity now to the forehand. Shoots. Can't quite tuck it in under the left armpit of Cody Porter, who has made the stop on John Seamer. Seamer's beaten him once tonight. Couldn't do it a second time, however. Sumalitas using that strength and speed of his to create a shorthanded opportunity for Macon. The Mayhem with just 2 shorthanded goals this season. One of them came against Knoxville. It was scored by Dakota Kletcha, who leads all Mayhem in points against the Ice Bears with 7 on the campaign in just 4 games. 4 goals, 3 assists to be exact. Low cans down the right side. Bodied off of the puck by Jarrett Cupp. He rattles it around the boards. Doug Rose is able to hold the point. His pass bounces over the stick of Roberts Locans. Flutters up to Stathis Sumalitas. His passing attempt is canceled out by Anthony McVeigh. Caleb Cameron's let out of the penalty box. The Mayhem improving to 3 for 3 on the PK, but Zhaikov dangles into his backhand. Fires a shot on goal that's punched aside by Entma. Kept in the zone by Locans. Fed to the goal line. McVeigh loses the puck, swats at it, holds it in the zone. Locans above the right circle. He's knocked off of it by Seamer, who feeds it off the stick of Sumalitas. Zach Urban has it now in his own zone as the Mayhem attempt a fire wagon line change as they maintain possession. Seamer drops it for Cameron. Cameron steps in, left circle, has his shot punched aside by Cody Porter. Zach Urban a little frustrated he didn't receive that pass from Caleb Cameron. It's the second time tonight one of his teammates didn't see him when he was pretty much wide open, but the Ice Bears have been found guilty of icing, and the Mayhem will get an offensive zone face-off. The faceoff will take place to the left, the glove side of Cody Porter. Both goaltenders have been strong tonight. They've kept this a low-scoring affair for the majority of the contest. Caleb Cameron winning the offensive zone draw cleanly. Danny Caesar from above the right circle had his shot blocked by Scott Cothrell. He then intercepts the centering pass and will start out to center with it. He's met by Danny Caesar on the back check, who's still fighting for it. Wins possession back for the Mayhem. Minerva hoists it a good 100 feet in the air. It lands near the Mayhem logo at center ice. And Caesar is walked there by Scott Cothrell. Larry Smith covering some ground for him. Caesar skating right through the puck, but he couldn't clear it. Now an opportunity presents itself. Cothrell sends it back door. The one-timer taken there by Nick DiNicola misses the net, and Nick Minerva will take over in the closing minute of period 2. It's been hoisted down. A fluttering puck is collected in the Knoxville zone by Ricky Kramer. Garrett Sargis up to Kramer. He slips away from Jimmy Soper. Motoring in down the left wing side will be Nick DiNicola, who puts it in front, redirects down below the Macon goal line. Zach Urban will pop it up to Jake Trask. He floats it down into Knoxville territory. Orbiting his own zone now is Blake O'Neill. Ronsberg takes over with 28 to go in period 2. Zach Urban has his pass reach Jake Trask, who turns it into the Knoxville zone. Jimmy Stoper delivers a pretty big hit, but he loses his balance. We'll try to whack it in front of the net. Actually goes off the back of it, and it's stuck on the netting, so a whistle blows, and the Mayhem will get an offensive zone faceoff with a baker's dozen seconds remaining in period 2. 2-1 Macon. They're going to hope to add a third goal with one offensive zone faceoff here. Mayhem changing up personnel. Switching this lineup in the interest of getting more right-handed shooters out there. Leo Thomas has put Dakota Klecha in Stathis Sumilidis' customary spot, but the Ice Bears have won the face-off, which hurts Macon's chances considerably of getting one buzzer beater here before the period ends, and it does not look like that will be happening this time, but the Mayhem will still enter the third period with the lead. That is the good news for the Mayhem. This season, when leading after 2 periods of play, the Mayhem 22-0. That's 20 wins, 2 losses, and 0 overtime losses, just for clarification, not 22 wins and 0 losses, in case you were wondering. But that's still a pretty darn good record. On home ice, the Mayhem 13-1-0 when leading after 2 periods of play. "20 minutes remain. The 20 minutes that have also been Macon's strongest 20 minutes on a regular basis this season. Coming into this game, the Mayhem had an exactly even goal differential in period 1. They had an exactly even goal differential in period 2. On the season, 45 goals for and 45 goals against in both periods 1 and 2. Pretty remarkable. But in period 3, the Mayhem with a goal differential of +8, 55-47. That has been the Mayhem's best period this season. Although they've scored a lot more in period 3. They've also allowed slightly more, but they're not going to be entering the third period with the mindset of just playing defense and preserving a tenuous 1-goal lead. They're going to want to keep attacking and keep testing Cody Porter, who they have not seen heading up to this game at all. They may see him again tomorrow night. They may see Santa Guida tomorrow night. Porter has played well. Entma has played slightly better. Kevin Entma making 22 of possible 23 saves tonight. Cody Porter 16 of 18. Both goaltenders have kept their respective teams in this game. Again, it's the 53rd game of the season. The Mayhem sitting in 7th place, the Ice Bears sitting in 4th place. If the score holds, Macon will draw to within 4 points of Knoxville for that highly coveted 4th seed. And if you're an Ice Bears fan, folks, I don't envy you, because Knoxville is right now, they're being chased by everybody. They're the team that everyone wants to steal that spot from. And Knoxville will have to protect that spot from not just the Mayhem, but also against the red-hot Pensacola squad next weekend. They will host the Ice Flyers on April 5th and April 6th at the Knoxville Civic Auditorium. The Ice Flyers, another team that will very much be interested in climbing the ladder and snagging that seed. But they've got, just like the Mayhem, they've got a long way to go. They sit 6 points behind Knoxville, just like Macon does. The Ice Flyers and the Mayhem, each with 55 points this season. And while we're on the subject, let's take a look around the SPHL for a Hampton out-of-town scoreboard update. So early in period 3, the Rail Yard Dogs, the Ice Flyers, still tied up at 3 goals apiece. That's been the case for a little while now. Quad City is in Huntsville tonight, still with a 1-0 lead over the Havoc, who are pretty much locked into that third spot unless something dramatic happens. The Evansville Thunderbolts with a surprising 3-1 lead over the Peoria Rivermen, the 10th seed beating the first seed on their home turf. So an upset underway up in Central Illinois tonight. 3-1 the score in favor of the Bolts through 20 minutes of play. And Fayetteville is trailing to Birmingham, which is good news for the Mayhem because of the Fayetteville Marksmen, a team that the Mayhem are battling for in the standings for positioning. That wraps up your out-of-town scoreboard update brought to you by Hampton Inn and Suites. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up till this point, folks. Again, anyone who would like a shout-out, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. You can either tweet at us at Macon Mayhem. Let us know where you're tuned in from. Or you can comment on our YouTube broadcast in the chat section. We'd love to hear from you and to give you a shout-out. Anyways, 2-1 your score through the first 2 periods of play at the Macon Centreplex, the last home game of the 2018-19 regular season. Goals coming from first John Seamer in the first period, answered pretty quickly by Liam Cairns 5 seconds after Macon's penalty had expired and Soper was let back onto the ice pretty much right as he set foot back on the ice. The Icebears scored, and that's just about any player. There's not much more frustrating than that. It's such a hopeless feeling. You get back on the ice, you're seconds away from helping your team defend. The puck goes in. Not only do you feel like you let your team down, but you also are given an undeserved minus. Got a feel for Jimmy Soper on that. He was called for interference when Derek Sutliff had the puck. I didn't see it, so I'm not going to voice my opinion on the call, but I know that it came at a really inopportune time for the Mayhem because Derek Sutliff was racing into the zone, had a good opportunity. So you got a feel for Jimmy Soper, even if it was a penalty in which he deserved, because it just it really changed a lot of the momentum in the first period. But the Mayhem did not hang their heads. They got back on that horse and regained their lead in period 2. Caleb Cameron buried a shot, bar down, beating Cody Porter inside, looked like under the left elbow of the net. And Derek Sutliff was given the lone assist on the strike by Cameron to regain Macon's lead. 2-1 is now where we stand, so if the game holds, Cameron will be given the game-winning goal. We've got about 13 minutes or so of time before third period hockey begins. In the meantime, folks, as promised, we'd like you to hear from a couple of the newest additions to the Mayhem who are playing in a very special game tonight because they're playing against a team that they were on for years. We'll hear first from Danny Caesar, who played for the Icebears for 4 seasons. And we'll hear next from Marcus Ortiz, just some of their thoughts about playing against their former squad. That's coming your way next, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Don't go anywhere. Okay, Danny, first off, just talk about, what your experience has been like in the time you've been here, coming in from the trade deadline, playing on Military Appreciation Weekend here, and then making a trip down to Pensacola this past weekend.
Yeah, it's been really great. When I first got in here, I knew a lot of guys on the team just from playing against them the last 4 years or so, and I mean, this team competes so hard, so coming in, my level of compete had to be as good as theirs, if not better, just to prove myself. So I think that gave me a little bit of a boost and made me, make sure that I'm ready to play again. Coming in, I knew Leo was a great coach, has a lot of experience in playing hockey himself, so I knew I was going to come in and I was going to learn a lot, and I was going to have a little bit of time to gel with the team before we faced off against Huntsville that weekend. I thought the first weekend was really good. We did very well. We played really hard. We finally got what we wanted the second game, and then we ended up having a team trip to the Air Force Base, which was a lot of fun, such a cool experience, something I've never done before, but it's had me really interested in, planes and just the way that, they work there. Their work ethic's so, it's crazy. I guess you can kind of compare like a sports work ethic to something like that, but those guys, are day in and day out. It never stops for them. So I come to practice for an hour a day, and I get to go do whatever I want after that. So, yeah, they definitely bring it, and it was really cool to see that sort of lifestyle. And then heading down to Pensacola, I mean, that team just competes. They're simple, they're hard on pucks, they win all their battles, and I think that really showed this weekend. But we still have 4 games left this year. We got a heck of a team. I mean, so much skill, so much speed, so much firepower. I'm not counting us out at all. I think we're definitely going to start gelling here and start climbing the rest of the way, and then head into playoffs and keep rolling.
I think it's safe to say nobody wants to play the Mayhem in the first round. And I think, this season, going down to Pensacola has definitely proven to be a challenge for this team. We've gone there 4 times this season. We've only scored 2 goals in those 4 games. For whatever reason, playing in that building, it's just hard to get offense. But you got your first goal with the Mayhem. That was a really nice play. Only goal on the entire weekend. So congrats on that.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll ask you more about that later, I think, on the line change show.
Sure.
If you could just sort of talk about, because I'm sure this game coming up against Knoxville, what's it going to be like for you emotionally to not only play against some of these guys that you probably consider family at this point, but to do a home series where you play against them here and then you go back up there on Saturday night to face off against.
Yeah, the on-ice situation, it's not going to be too bad. We did battle really hard in practice in Knoxville, so I'm used to, hitting those guys in the corners and, seeing who can come out with the puck. So I'm not too worried about that. It's going to be fun playing against all the old teammates and friends and people that will be friends for life. But, I'm excited to be on this team, and I'm glad I'm here, and I think that we could definitely do some damage in Knox.
Reaction like when you found out that Leo and Mayhem.
I was excited. Definitely when you're going into the season and you're trying to figure out what path you're going to take or what team you're going to go to. Macon was definitely toward the top of mine, but I had loyalty to Knoxville, obviously, after playing there last year. And, I don't regret going back there, but at the end of the day, when the opportunity presented itself, Macon was the place that, I wanted to be. So I was pretty excited, and they beat me to it, actually. I was going to call Leo, but Leo called me first, so.
Awesome. I didn't hear that part of the story. How was playing here?
It's exceeded. It's only been 1 week, but in the first couple days, I could already just see the difference in just the style of play and the type of players we have here. The hockey IQ is through the roof, so it makes playing hockey a little easier. It makes coming in the rink a lot more fun every day, and it makes doing your job just that much more exciting.
You played in Knoxville.
I'm really excited. Obviously when you're let go of a team that you had so much loyalty to, it leaves a bitter pill to swallow in your pit of your stomach. So I'm excited to go back. I'm excited to play against them for once. And, I've always seen what that building's like being a part of that team. So I'm excited to go in as the enemy. But I know me and Danny are going to have a lot of fans and friends and, fiancés and wives in the stands. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be like a homecoming.
Do you expect them to have any sort of tribute or festivities? Any announcement on the PA, or is it all going to be hostile like Tavares like in New York?
I don't think the fans will be hostile. I think if anything, we'll probably get just as loud of cheers as their team does when me and Danny come back. But I think from the standpoint of their PA and everything, I don't think we'll get any sort of tribute at all.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Marcus. Thanks, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
.9, the Creek-Row Music Row Radio, John Paul White, The Long Way Home. Creekside Mornings, Tony Doolin, Charles Davis. Yes, I am recording this segment.
I'm so proud of you.
Me too.
Alex Van Keutel of the Macon Mayhem is here this morning. Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
You brought Jake Trask with you.
I did.
A fan favorite.
Yes.
As they say, Jake.
I would say one of the stars, as they might call him, of the Macon Mayhem.
The man can score some goals.
He can do things like that. He's our version of Ovechkin. He's our version.
That's fair.
Of Mr. Crosby.
That's fair.
I'll call him that.
We're going to get to you in a minute, Jake.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
Dig deep into your personal life.
Yeah, get into all of that.
Find out all the secrets.
Hopes, fears, birth certificate, social security number.
All that jazz. We will be taking out credit cards in your name.
We sure will. Good credit.
Alex, how are you, buddy?
Doing all right. Yeah, it was a great weekend, I thought. We had a lot of fun.
It was a good weekend. It was Military Appreciation Weekend. Tell us about Friday's game. Specifically, let's just jump to the end.
Yeah, well, it got out of hand a little bit.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, basically another all-out brawl that happened in the third period.
Good.
We had one of those kind of similar type things happen a few weeks ago when Fayetteville came to town. And, but I'm really proud of the way that we bounced back and really kept a lid on things Saturday and just played hockey and took care of business the following night. So that was a really impressive performance by our guys, I think.
Saturday was a great game. Final score 2-1. It was a little scary because as soon as the first period started, I mean, legitimately, the announcer had not gotten out of his mouth, "Let's go Mayhem," and they scored a goal.
Well,
just boom.
Yeah.
That was quick.
It was. That was 16 seconds in.
But Jake saw that and said, "This will not happen today. Not today.
Not on my ice.
Today.
This is my house."
No, I said something about it on the air because when a goal like that goes in, like not only did it happen so fast, but it was just such a fluke.
Yeah.
And then what a good leader does, which is exactly what Jake did, was just skate right back the other way and put one in the net, and basically the team forgets about it, and
Exactly.
we're back to square one.
Puts it down, squashes it.
Yes.
Squashes it.
Want it all squashed.
Jake, how are you, sir?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Tell us about you. Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Western Canada, about 4 hours from Vancouver. It's a place called Penticton.
All right.
It's in the Okanagan Valley. Very nice place, actually. If you ever get a chance to go out that way.
Penticton, you call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance to go out there, it's Okanagan Valley, so it's filled with like wineries, orchards, everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Huge lakes on each side of the city.
Good fishing?
Tons of good fishing.
Good, okay.
Rainbow
Sounds
trout.
like a vacation spot.
It does.
I'm
It
just
really
saying,
does.
I am enticed.
It is. If you ever get a chance, definitely go. I actually live in Columbus, Ohio now.
Okay.
That's where my wife is from, so I've been there for, this will be my third year, so I like that too. It's a little different than being back home in Canada, but I like Columbus, so.
Columbus is an interesting town. We had this conversation off air. Columbus is an interesting town.
It is. There's actually, it's like, you got that big city feel without it actually being too big.
Right.
So, there's tons to do. If you're a football fan, you got the Ohio State. For me, that's not.
I was gonna ask you that question since your wife is from Ohio. Is she a big Ohio State person? Okay.
Yeah, there's family gatherings
I
every
bet.
Saturday that I get dragged to. But
do you have the shirt that you wear, the Ohio State shirt you wear, just to support the family?
Her dad has bought me a few actually.
There you go, and you wear them proudly, don't you?
I do sometimes.
Okay,
yeah.
good job. Good job on you.
Not all the time, but I do sometimes.
When did you start playing hockey, man?
I started skating when I was 2.
Okay.
My dad put me in figure skating to start. Not like doing all the jumps and stuff, but just learning the basics of like edge work and just the basics of skating.
I was
and
really
then
hoping you were gonna do like you were talking about. You were doing like Blaze of Glory type stuff, like spins.
I was getting ready to just look at him and go, toe pick.
Yeah. And,
the triple Lutz, you can lock that down.
It never came to that, but I started playing, and then I started playing like organized hockey at like 4 or 5 years old. And to be honest, I hated it.
Really?
Yeah. I cried every time to get off the ice.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
He's not the only one. A lot of the Mayhem guys hated it when they were kids.
Well, because did it feel more like it was more forced upon you to play hockey, and it wasn't like, oh, I really want to play this game?
You know what? I don't know why it was. I
would say the puck flying at your face is
that
one
could
thing
have been
that
an
would.
indication.
Yeah.
I mean, at 4 or 5 years old, having that, flying towards you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you still don't cry before games.
No.
Okay, good.
Luckily,
All right,
I
we're past
grew out
that
of
now.
All right, welcome back, folks. We hope you enjoyed a few sound bites there from Danny Caesar and from Marcus Ortiz. For those of you wondering why you couldn't hear the questions from the interview, it's because we were testing out a wireless mic, so you could only hear Danny and Marcus. But that's who you want to hear from anyways. You don't want to hear from me. So it was great catching up with them and asking them about what it means to play against this team that they played for years. and they both told me basically the same thing. They have a lot of respect for this team, understand the nature of the business and just the way things are, but are just going to be just sort of like the way Caleb and Liam Cairns are tonight, which is, you know, friends off the ice now, but enemies on it. And once the puck drops, it's all business. That's been the case tonight. Lots of intertwining stories and narratives to focus on tonight. That Cameron Cairns story, of course, the rivalry between Sean Lynch and Anthony McVeigh being another one, and of course with Caesar and with Ortiz playing against a team that has nurtured them and brought them into the professional landscape, playing against this team for the first time, both of them. And tomorrow night will probably be even more interesting for them because they actually head up to Knoxville, a building they've played many a game over the course of the past few seasons. But this will be the first time they're playing against that team in that building. It'll be an interesting welcome that they both look forward to back at Knoxville Civic Auditorium. The third period of action is now underway at the Macon Centreplex, the final regulation period in this building for the 2018-19 regular season. Jarrett Cupp will hold the puck alive at the left point. He will do so again and backhand a pass into the slot that ricochets off the stick of Mitchell Mueller, and Seamer will chisel it down to Stathis Sumalides in the far corner. He loses it up the wall to Mitchell Mueller, who will try to work his way out in front of his own bench. He will now backhand it back on a D-to-D pass. Finds Blake O'Neill from the right wing side. He will send it off the stick of Cupp. Overskated by Cameron. Maydree gave it back to Cathrell, who walks in and fires. Nice blocker save by Kevin Etma. Puck's been hoisted off the glass and out past the linesman, and Knoxville recovers. It's Blake O'Neill who's got it. He will send it into the right corner, and it's dropped off for Stanislav Zhykov. His centering attempt was errant as it was just swarmed. The puck was by multiple Navy sweaters. Sutliff leaves it for Ronsberg, and now it's Cameron over the blue line. Sends it into a vacated area. Cameron's off the right corner and right to, it looks like that is Danny Caesar down there in the far corner. Lucas Bombardier. Now it's Zach Urban. Slides it D-to-D for Seth Ronsberg. Into the middle for Jimmy Soper. Caesar redirects it. Cairns catches up with it. Cairns gets it right back, and from the right wing side, he will feed a errant pass that caroms off the far side wall, and it's rattled back into the Knoxville zone by Derek Sutliff. Cody Porter reverses it. Now to the near side for Ricky Kramer. Spun around the boards by Spencer Metcalf. Jimmy Soper intercepts the neutral zone pass. Redirected by Marcus Ortiz on an offside play, and the whistle blows. 18-14 to go in the third period. Macon with a 2-1 lead over the Knoxville Icebears. Last Saturday night, or 2 Saturday nights ago rather, on Military Appreciation Weekend, the Mayhem won their first 2-1 game of the season. It was the first game all year in which they won a game by scoring just 2 goals, which is remarkable considering the Mayhem are one of the better defensive teams in the SPHL this season. They're going to have to get used to doing that more often because there are a lot of cases in the playoffs in which games are very low scoring like that. Horizontal pass finds Anthony McVeigh, whose shot from a tough angle is steered aside by the blocker of Kevin Etma. Marcus Ortiz wraps up with Charlie Granath for a battle for possession of the puck. Garrett Sargis from the blue line had his shot blocked by Soper, or rather Lynch. It flies into the far corner. Ortiz is knocked down. And it's battled for by Nick DiNicola. He gets some help from Roberts Locans. Squeaks out past the blue line. Sean Lynch in a race for possession against Sargis. Sargis able to beat him to it, but he blocks the clearing attempt, does Lynch. He delays, finds the trailer. It's Seamer who will shoot, miss the left post. Good patience, nice heads-up pass by Sean Lynch on that opportunity. Chasing it down will be Nick DiNicola, but he's met first by Jake Fiella. And Seamer will try to center it out in front, hoping for Stathis Sumalides, but it was snuffed out by Cody Porter, and out come the Ice Bears with possession. Fiella swats it away, back in front of the Macon bench. It's chipped into the zone by Chandler Maydree and wrapped around to the near side by Kevin Etma. Sumalides to Seamer. Try to backhand it up the wall. Slides into the slot between the circles. Fiella's got it. His pass is outside of the reach of Sumalides, who kicks it up to his blade and will feed Jake Trask a pass on his off wing. He attempts to squeeze by David Branchick, drops it for Seamer, flutters a one-timer wide of the right elbow of the net. Sutliff cuts it off, far half wall. We'll chisel it down to Seamer, who's wrapped up away from the puck. It's been cleared past Urban. It'll be recovered by Ronsberg in his own end. Seth Ronsberg loses the puck to Cathrell. He will drop it on back. Here's a shot by Zhykov. Getting just a piece of it there was Kevin Atma. And Doug Rose will send it back behind the Macon cage. Urban fighting for it. Bounces right in front. And unable to get a shot off was Chandler Madry, but the Ice Bears still with possession. The shot from Cathrell is blocked. Here comes Caesar, joined by Sutliff and Cameron on his left. Caesar with a shot. Skitters wide than that, and Sutliff will pick it up in the left corner, dropping it for Caesar, who can't squeak free. He's pickpocketed by Liam Cairns behind the Knoxville goal line. It's been cleared all the way down. This will be icing called against the Ice Bears. 15:47 to play in the third period. 2-1 is the score in favor of Macon. And we'll go to an offensive zone draw. The faceoff will take place in the right circle of the Knoxville zone to the left of Cody Porter, who has just reached the 20-save plateau. Knoxville clearing it down the length. No icing here because it was on net. Atma easily making the stop. Larry Smith feed it out to center for Jimmy Soper. He redirects it. Zhykov gives it away to Nick Minerva. Puck bounces near the red line. It's scooped up by Liam Cairns and dealt on for Doug Rose. Rose's pass is intercepted by Larry Smith. A three-man collision takes place in the near corner. Sutliff couldn't quite catch up with it. Lucas Bombardier will drop it on back. With it on his stick now is Blake O'Neill. Carries behind his own cage with Dakota Kletcha facing him from the opposite side of the net in the F1 position. It's outletted up the left wing side for Stanislav Zhykov. He'll swivel his way over the red line. He is hit pretty hard by the hard-hitting Canadian power forward Jimmy Soper. Outletted up to Dakota Kletcha, who will redirect it on net, and it's stopped by Cody Porter. Flung out to Spencer Metcalf, and racing in across the Macon blue line will be Lucas Bombardier, who's watched by Fayella. Bombardier's shot misses the left post. We've crossed the quarter mark of period 3, 14.5 to play in it. The Mayhem maintaining a 2-1 lead. Bombardier from the left half wall will spin it down the boards and behind the net. Centering pass by McVeigh. Good stick check by Jarrett Cup to prevent a point-blank shot coming from Nick DiNicola. And now it's going to be John Seamer just slapping it out. Bounces over the stick of Trask, but he will outrace the icing call. He gets there before O'Neill can. He is hit off the puck. He didn't have possession, so a clear-cut case of interference is called against Spencer Metcalf and the Ice Bears, and the Mayhem will be going back to the power play for the third time tonight. Both teams have been perfect so far on the penalty kill. The Mayhem will be going to a power play next, right after this media timeout, the first media timeout of period 3. 2-1 Macon is your score. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group.
Into the third period, the Mayhem have a 2-1 lead. We're thankful to have you with us tonight, folks, on this Friday night, on Fan Appreciation Night / Cherry Blossom Night. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Shout out to Kathleen Craner from Las Vegas tuning in, cheering for Derek Sutliff, a Las Vegas native, and the Macon Mayhem. Thank you, Kathleen. The Mayhem going back to their third Wild Wing Cafe power play of the night. John Seamer from the left corner will spin it up to Jake Trask at the blue line. Seamer gives it over, and Nick Minerva had a hard time handling it. It's been cleared by David Branchick out to the neutral zone. Jake Trask takes a swat at it out to John Seamer on his left. Seamer will return it to Trask on his right. And Trask returns a skillful backhand saucer pass up to Seamer to spring him on his way. I believe they're calling this offside. I'm not sure about that one, but the Mayhem caught on an offside call. 2-1, your score in favor of Macon with 13.5 to play in the third period. The Michigan State Spartans beat the LSU Tigers earlier today. For those of you tuned in to the paying attention to the March Madness tournament. It's been cleared down by Charlie Granath. Kevin Etma halts it behind his own net. Jake Trask has it. Begins to pick up speed as he races through center ice. He's in over the blue line, skates through 4 Ice Bears, and shoots it wide intentionally, giving the bounce in the carom to Seamer off the boards, and Sumalitas in and a lot of coverage, sets up Caesar, does Minerva, but his shot was blocked on the one-timer. Now it's Seamer above the left circle, up to Trask at the apex. Jake Trask defended by Lucas Bombardier, who has just cleared it. Kevin Etma hoping to catch the Ice Bears in the midst of that line change as Seamer receives it from Caesar, skates down his off wing. Seamer sends it over. Score! Dakota Kletcha! Power play goal! 3-1 Mayhem. It's Dakota Kletcha's 12th goal on the season. We talked about how hot he's been against Knoxville this season. He's now got 8 points against the Ice Bears in just 5 games. 5 goals, 3 assists. He was labeled the Bear Hunter earlier this season when the Mayhem and the Ice Bears were meeting all the time. And he has just given the Mayhem their first insurance lead in weeks. O'Neal from behind his own goal line will begin the race out for Knoxville. A huge accomplishment for Macon's power play, scoring against the top penalty kill in the SPHL virtually all season. The Mayhem's power play brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe, improving to now 1 for 3 on the night. The puck caroms right to Scott Cathrell, who's joined on his right by Madry, sets him up with the pass. Madry from a wide angle had his shot snuffed out by Kevin Etma. Danny Caesar passed it to himself along the end wall. Works for it against Blake O'Neal. Will carry out in front of his own net. Caesar drops it to Zach Urban. "12 minutes remain in the third period. The Mayhem with a 3-1 lead. Seth Ronsberg up to Caesar. Sends a pass to Caleb Cameron on his off wing. Cameron pulls the trigger. Missed the right post. Not by much. Boy, was that a cannon coming off the stick of Caleb Cameron. Stanislav Zhykov outraces the opposition to nullify an icing call. He's got it in the near corner of the ice. Zhykov is defended by Cup. Will drop it back to the line for Kramer. Picked off by Ronsberg, who's got a little bit of help with him on his left, but Zhykov back-checked well. Stanislav Zhykov loses the puck to John Seamer, who will get it right back. Fortuitous bounce for the Mayhem. They take advantage. Jake Trask has it. Sends a pass into the middle of the ice for Marcus Ortiz. Seamer tries to squeeze by Bombardier, couldn't quite do it. O'Neal can't clear it past the watchful eye of Jarrett Cup at the left point. But Ricky Kramer is able to get it out. Jake Fayella taking it away in front of the player benches. Stathis Sumalides. Now it's Lokans. Redirecting it out of the Knoxville zone. Fayella over to Cup. Cup will float one into the opposite corner on the far side. It's played by Ricky Kramer and backhanded along. Roberts Lokans is able to just barely eke it over the blue line. Larry Smith was there and promptly hammered it back in. The Ice Bears having difficulty clearing it out past the red line over the past couple of minutes here. It's fired hard off the boards and it lands flat on the tape of Nick DiNicola. DiNicola is closed off by Nick Minerva. A loose puck bounces around down there below the goal line. Anthony McVeigh is on it. He's defended closely by Larry Smith, who can't quite clear it past Spencer Metcalf, who will float it into the glove of Kevin Etma, who will take a whistle. 10 seconds to go before our second media timeout of the period. Lots of pushes and shoves taking place in front of Etma's net. And he's just standing off to the side watching these 10 players go at it. We've seen more scrums in this game than you might expect from two teams who haven't seen each other in 3 months. But then again, folks, these are valuable points on the line, both tonight and tomorrow night. The Mayhem, a much better team on home ice than they are on the road this season, but so are the Ice Bears. The Mayhem at home, 16-9-2. On the road, just 9-13-3. Knoxville similarly better on home than they are on the road, to a similar degree that the Mayhem are. 16-7-2 on home ice are the Ice Bears, 12-12-3 on the road. The Mayhem really need to snap their road winless skid tomorrow night in Knoxville if they want to have any chance of gaining the 4th seed in the SPHL standings. Jimmy Soper backhands a pass out to the red line. It's picked out by Branchik. Penalty box door flew open. And the timekeeper is gotten it back onto its moorings. Seth Ronsberg up to Jimmy Soper, who kicks it to his stick. He will chisel it into the Knoxville zone. Garrett Sargis reverses it to Scott Cathrell. Had a few chances tonight, but has not been able to get on the score sheet. I believe he actually got a secondary assist on Liam Karen's goal, however. Jarrett Cup able to back check and lift the stick of Stanislav Zhykov. Here's a point-blank chance, and the shot on goal by Mueller is denied by Entma. Back to the blue line it goes, and Charlie Granath will feed it in behind the Macon cage. Puck sliding out to the top of the far circle. It's dropped off to the blue line. Sargis lets a long shot go, misses the left post. Lots of bodies falling and flying all over the place on that last shift, but nothing was called. Puck flutters on Caleb Cameron, who couldn't spring one along for Caesar. 9 minutes remain in regulation time. The Ice Bears need at least 2. Granath from the red line sends it wide to the left post. Jarrett Cup fires it around the boards. Jake Trask chips it out of the zone past Bombardier and out into the Knoxville end. Icing is the call against the Mayhem. Fortunately for them, they've got a media timeout to give them a breather. 8:41 to play in the third period. 3-1 your score in favor of Macon. Goals coming from John Seamer, Liam Cairns, Caleb Cameron, and Dakota Kletcha in that order. We're going to take a brief pause on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. We'll be back in just a moment. Keep it right here.
Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
Hampton Inn and Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. It looks as though Pensacola and Roanoke are headed to a shootout up at Berglund Arena in Roanoke, Virginia. Huntsville up 2-1 over the Quad City Storm, so they've erased their deficit and then some. Evansville up 3-1 over the Peoria Rivermen, and Fayetteville still trailing 3-0 the score in favor of the Birmingham Bulls out in central Alabama. That's good news for the Mayhem. They don't really care what Birmingham does. They just don't want Fayetteville to get any points. The Marksmen, one of the contenders for that 4th seed that all the teams underneath Knoxville right now are gunning for. Knoxville's got 4 teams chasing it in Fayetteville, Pensacola, Macon, and Roanoke. Knoxville with a reasonably comfortable advantage over all those teams, but that can change in a heartbeat, especially when they're playing a back-to-back weekend in which one of those teams is playing against them, one of those teams battling for that spot. Motivation, limited resource, but in situations like this, not something that takes a lot of willpower to muster. Here comes Zhykov across the blue line. Will snap a shot off. Shoulder save Entma. The follow-up shot by Bombardier didn't get much on it. Liam Cairns will set up Bombardier, who centers for Zhykov. He sort of fanned on the one-timer. O'Neill will feed Zhykov, who attempts the skillful pass up to Cairns. Redden broken up, however, by the Calgary native Zach Urban. Rather, that was Nick Minerva, the New Jersey-born defenseman, I beg your pardon, as it's played by Ricky Kramer, who will feed it up to Lucas Bombardier. His shot sails over the crossbar. Collision takes place on the far half wall between Jake Trask and O'Neill. Blake O'Neill holds it at the left point. Redirects off the stick of Trask. O'Neill a second time able to keep it in the zone. Simulidis will punch one ahead, and Jake Trask tries to turn on the Jets to beat Doug Rose, but he had a head start, and Rose will feed it over to his left. Blake O'Neill clears it out to neutral territory. Ronsberg has it bounced to him. Kletcha dodged a bullet there. Locans was ready to smash him once he got the puck. Kletcha attempts a little retaliation. Rose feeds it up through the middle of the ice for Nick DiNicola, who drives down the right side. His centering pass goes off the stick of Ronsberg and into the corner on the near side of the ice. McVeigh sends it over to his defenseman, David Branchick. Stutter step, holds on, left circle, feeds it over to Rose, who's well covered by Ronsberg, who beat him to it, and Dakota Kletcha will slide a pass up to Derek Sutliff. It's given out to Cameron. He's sized up. Cup follows up and gains the Knoxville zone. He fires it in front. Marcus Ortiz fights for it inside of the trapezoid behind the Knoxville cage. been cleared up the wall by Marcus Ortiz. Soccered along by Cup, held in the zone. Sutliff with a wrist shot, blocked by the back, it looked like, of Liam Cairns, and cleared out to the neutral zone. Roberts Locans receives the neutral zone pass. He will crisscross with Anthony McVeigh and drop it for him. McVeigh's shot flutters over the crossbar. Locans dropping it to the point, and the long shot is off the mark. Ayala and Nick DiNicola had both gone down near Kevin Entma's net. We're seeing Knoxville pressing a lot more, getting a lot more aggressive in the closing minutes as they need a pair of goals in the next 6-12. Soper dropping it, Lynch returning it. Soper gets the carom off the boards, but is stood up by Garrett Sargis, and here come the Ice Bears the other way. Mitchell Mueller left side. The ex-Quad City Storm centered a pass for Chandler Madry, who redirected it over top of the crossbar. Madry gets another chance in tight, tries to slip one over, and Kevin Entma read it like a book and made the stop. Kevin Entma has proven to look wise beyond his years since he has joined the Mayhem. This is just his third game, his third professional game, and his first home professional game. He has kept his composure and then some tonight. The rookie out of Adrian College, one of the best goaltenders in the history of their program up there. Very consistent 4-season career up at Adrian College, still sporting the black and gold equipment, which doesn't exactly match well with the Mayhem uniforms, but hey, it's unique and he stands out. Stathis is able to slip away from Kramer. Trask gets it, sets up Seamer right circle. His shot goes off a Knoxville stick. I believe it was Charlie Granath, the Swedish defenseman, who got some lumber on it. Nice move by Scott Cothrell, who cuts through center, gains the zone, tries to walk on Cup. His shot flutters wide of the blocker side post of Entma. And the puck squirts free. Cothrell hammers it back to the line, just barely crossed over it, so an offside is called. And Ricky Kramer did not agree with that, but an offside whistle is the call nonetheless. 5:22 to play in the third period. 3-1 remains your score. Kramer, the Fitchburg State product, in a similar situation that DiNicola's in. Both of them Fitchburg State products in their first professional season. Jarrett Cup behind his own goal line. Bombardier whacked the puck out of the air, took a baseball swing to keep that Cup clearing attempt from exiting the zone. Instead, it's a high sticking call against Lucas Bombardier, so the faceoff will take place in the neutral zone. 5:11 to be played in the third. In 11 seconds, we'll have our final media timeout of regulation time. Knoxville needs at least 2 to salvage a point from this game. Danny Caesar, red line, attempts to shovel it into the zone. It's blocked by a Knoxville back. Cameron will finish it off and clear it in behind the Knoxville cage. David Branchick, a hard pass out to Lucas Bombardier. From the red line, Bombardier picks up some speed. Will go wide on Larry Smith. Smith takes him into the boards, knocks him off the puck, stays on it. Jake Fiella will advance it up the right wall. It's thrown up to Derek Sutliff on the left side. Doug Rose takes it away from him behind his own net. David Branchick down the right wing side, gains the Macon zone, drops it for Zhykov. His shot is denied by Kevin Entma. Shown incredible poise, the rookie goaltender. 4:21 yet to go in the third period. 3-1 Macon is your score. Kevin Entma has made 29 of a possible 30 saves tonight. At the other end, Cody Porter has stopped 17 of 20. Our last media timeout of this game. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today.
So Jeff Carr has just said all that he could to his troops to try to rally and inspire them. With these valuable 2 points on the line just looming in their minds, they're hoping to at least come away with one of them in hostile territory tonight. This is a building the Ice Bears have struggled in this season, though they did win the last time they were here by a 4-1 score. It was the first regulation loss the Mayhem had suffered all year. Metcalf's pass is broken up by Lynch. He's got a breakaway, joined by Ortiz on his right. Lynch down the slot, lost a handle on the puck. Oh, and then he's hit hard into the far corner. Thought he might have drawn a penalty, not the case. And he's dispossessed of it by Spencer Metcalf, and out come the Ice Bears with possession. Had a feel for the youngster on that. His eyes were probably bigger than saucers with that opportunity. A breakaway, clear cut from his own zone in. Not even I'd say probably a 2-on-0 with Marcus Ortiz on his right, and he's given a few bumps of encouragement from his teammates on the bench. It's a tough one to swallow, and Leo Thomas is skating over to him to encourage him as well. Just a little too excited, I think, there in that situation by Sean Lynch, but he has no reason to hang his head. He's played one heck of a game tonight. John Seamer from the far corner. Backhands it to the line. Nick Minerva bobbles it a tad. He rescues it just before it had crossed the blue line to keep the play going. But Knoxville, it appears, will clear it. Doug Rose bounces it off the skates of Seamer. From the red line, it's Majory sending it into the Macon zone. Entma wraps it around the wall out to the far half boards. It's cut off by Scott Cothrell. And from the left circle, it's centered out in front, hoping to get it to Chandler Majory, but it's picked off. And Jake Trask will backhand a pass for Stathis Sumalitis that was broken up by Ricky Kramer. Kramer inside of his own trapezoid. Jarrett Cupp from center ice. Sent it back to his trusted D partner, Jake Fiella. Fiella played 28 games up in the ECHL this season with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits and the Atlanta Gladiators. 25 of those games were with Greenville, under Macon's former coach, Kevin Kerr. Zhykov enters the Macon zone on the left side. His shot sails over the glove hand of Entma. It's recovered in the neutral zone by Garrett Sargis. Cody Porter makes a break for it. The Ice Bears with 6 attackers on the ice now and an empty net on the left side of your screen. 2.5 to play in the third period. 3-1 Macon. It's been cleared all the way down, well wide, and that icing will be the call against the Mayhem. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and if you're Leo Thomas, you've got to consider calling your timeout here. Got some tired bodies out there. You don't want to give Knoxville any hope of coming back in this game. The score is 3-1. If the Ice Bears take advantage of that icing call against Macon, it's a whole new ball game. Cleared down the length immediately after the draw. Back-to-back icings against Macon. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, who's going to be a happy sponsor after tonight's game. They've been getting a lot of shout-outs throughout the game. If you haven't tried Tropical Smoothie, swing by on Riverside Drive. They've got more than just smoothies, though that is what they're known for, and for good reason. They are pretty delicious. It's been cleared down the length by Sutliff. This time Caesar will nullify the icing call with his speed. Gets to it first. He's pinned up by his former teammate, Charlie Granath. Garrett Sargis takes over. Lucas Bombardier will drop it on back, and it's Stanislav Zhykov. Bombardier whips it in from center. It's gloved by Entma and played to his right for Seth Ronsberg. He will loft one off the glass out into the neutral zone. Zhykov pops it over to Anthony McVeigh. It's cleared into the Macon end by Liam Cairns. 100 seconds remain in regulation. The Mayhem holding on to a 3-1 advantage. Their goals have come off the sticks of John Seamer, Caleb Cameron, and Dakota Klecha in that order. All SPHL veterans in at least their second season. Liam Cairns, to this second, still has Knoxville's lone goal. Puck is flung across the width of the ice and picked up off the cairn by Stathis Sumalitis. The Mayhem appear to have no interest in scoring the empty net goal. They're just holding Knoxville at bay. Down the left wing side, it's skated in behind the net by Ricky Kramer, who will get it out to the right point for Doug Rose. Now a puck battle takes place in the right corner of the ice. A 4-man scrum that's equally divided is won by Knoxville. Here's a one-timer from the slot taken by Cairns. It's blocked. The Mayhem could get an opportunity here A few players fight for it. Zhykov receives it in the left circle. Wanted the one-timer. The pass came to him too quickly. Resetting at center ice is O'Neill. Blake O'Neill charges down the right side. Attempts the curl and drag. Lost the puck. Fouled up by Madry, who sends it back to the line. Held in the zone and picked up by DiNicola. He gets it back in the left circle. DiNicola sets up Locans in the slot. He shoots. He scores. Roberts Locans has sniped a shot. Low blocker side on Kevin Etma. And has just scored his 8th goal on the season in just his 18th game, giving Knoxville some life with 31.1 seconds remaining. They've still got a pulse, and this game is not over. We can expect to see Cody Porter probably setting up halfway between the goal and the bench, but without a doubt, Jeff Carr is going to use his timeout here. 31.1 seconds remaining on the clock. The Ice Bears, having just scored their 2nd goal of the night off the stick of Roberts Locans, the Latvian forward, his 8th of the season and his 13th point. A low blocker side snipe on Kevin Etma, who has been terrific tonight. But that goal by Locans sets the stage for a dramatic finish in this game. Just how we like it. This fan appreciation night crowd all on its feet. That's a close to 3,000 in attendance tonight to witness the last home game of the Mayhem's 4th annual season in Macon. The most valuable points of the season so far on the line tonight. Jeff Carr has decided to just leave Porter on the bench, a risky maneuver. Will it pay off? From the red line, it's Locans trying to get it into the Macon zone. Battled for and whacked down the ice and in. Jake Trask, with his league-leading 25th goal on the season, has just iced the game for the Mayhem. Coming into this game, Jake Trask had been tied with 3 other players for the league lead in goal. Shane Morrissey in Evansville, Ryan Salkeld in Huntsville, and Josh Harris in Birmingham, all tied with 24 goals coming into this tilt, but Jake Trask has just separated himself from the pack with his 25th goal on the campaign, a tremendous accomplishment for the 4th-year Mayhem forward. The Ice Bears were clearly offside, but the linesman just lets it go as this game is over. 4-2 your final score here at the Macon Centreplex, folks. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. If you're a Mayhem fan, we know you enjoyed the outcome. The Mayhem with an exceptionally valuable 2 points gained tonight. Even more importantly, keeping Knoxville from gaining any, which means that they have crept back to within 6 points of the Ice Bears. 4 points, I beg your pardon, of the Ice Bears for that 4th seed. If the Mayhem can win tomorrow night's game in regulation, they will draw to within just 2 points of Knoxville heading into the closing weekend of the regular season. The Mayhem will head up to Peoria following this weekend to take on the struggling Rivermen, and the Ice Bears will host the surging Ice Flyers at the Knoxville Civic Auditorium. Ice Bears fans, the good news for you is the remaining games of this season will all take place in Knoxville for you. For the Mayhem, the opposite is the case, and you're seeing it now at center ice, the Mayhem doing a slightly longer tribute to their fans than normal, and that is because this was the last home game of the regular season. Now, they do, everyone in this building for the most part is aware that the playoffs will guarantee the Mayhem at least 1 home game. They're hoping it'll be more than that. Now, a lot will depend on the seeding. If the Mayhem can sneak into that 4th seed before the season's over, they will get at least 2 home games, unless, of course, they lose both games 1 and 2, in which case it would only be 1 home game. So the way it'll probably go is there will be a Friday night game on April 12th at the home venue of the lower seed. Then there will be a day, the Saturday will be travel, and then games 2 and 3 will take place on Sunday and Monday, April, I believe, 14th and 15th. Something of that sort. But a lot of it will depend on the buildings, the venues the games will be played in, and what can be arranged in terms of getting ice. and whatnot. Of course, we'll be sure to keep you folks tuned in out there, all up to date as much as we can on Mayhem's social media and our website and through other means on our radio broadcasts and whatnot. There will be a party at Margarita's Mercer Village, a playoff selection show next Sunday. The Mayhem will return from Peoria and be there to in anticipation of the selection show, which will determine the Mayhem's first opponent in the President's Cup playoffs. Caleb Cameron has been named tonight's third star of the game. He scored what would have been the game-winning goal had Knoxville's Roberts Locans not tied things up. But he had a nice bar-down snipe on Cody Porter. Dakota Kletcha will be credited with the game-winning goal. Fittingly so. He's been Macon's best player against Knoxville this season, leading the Mayhem with 8 points through 5 games played against the Icebears. And then the first star of tonight's game, the only one to have a multi-point night, John Seamer with a goal and an assist, 2 points on the evening. John Seamer is tonight's first star of the game. What a performance by him yet again. So John Seamer with the goal and assist tonight had a 15 goals on the season and 35 assists. He's still sitting firmly at third in the SPHL among assist leaders with 35 on the campaign, only behind Ben Blasco and Cy Nukovic. Lots of promising areas taken from tonight's game. Josh Keplinger was a healthy scratch, and in his absence, Dakota Kletcha really stepped up to the plate and got the Mayhem the game winner on the power play. That was one of the many positive takeaways for Macon tonight. They scored a power play goal against the best penalty kill in the SPHL. Doing that is no easy feat, folks. The Icebears coming into this game so far ahead of everybody in the PK department. A 92.2% conversion rate on the PK. That's just ridiculous. The next closest opponent to them is more than 8 percentage points under them. The Peoria Rivermen are at 84%. So to score on that penalty kill is a very good sign, though as we said in the pregame report, there will be fewer and fewer penalties called as the season nears its end and as the playoffs begin. We'll just see a lot more 5-on-5 action, which I don't think will bother the Mayhem one bit. One of the other things we talked about during the pregame show report was that the Mayhem are a much better team at full strength than they are on special teams. This season, while at full strength, the Mayhem's goal differential is a +23. And if you combine all the special teams goals that have happened and mix them in with the even strength goals, so the total goal differential heading into this game, the Mayhem a mere +3. At even strength, they're a +23. So that's a big discrepancy, a very noteworthy discrepancy, and one that will likely bode well for this team as it heads into the postseason. 4-2 the final here in Macon. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast, folks. If you're a Mayhem fan, we know you enjoyed the outcome. The Mayhem winning their last home game of the regular season, a must-win for the Mayhem if they wish to gain that 4th seed in the SPHL standings, a seed that's very much still up for grabs. Let's take a look around the SPHL for one last out-of-town scoreboard update brought to you by Hampton Inn & Suites. Lots of playoff implications on the line tonight, as will be the case from now until the end of the regular season. Last we checked in Roanoke, there was a shootout taking place between them and the Pensacola Ice Flyers. Roanoke edging Pensacola, getting the better of them in the shootout, which I think is good news for the Mayhem because they have just passed Pensacola with now Macon has 57 points. They've passed Pensacola. They will pass Fayetteville unless they erase a 4-goal deficit in Birmingham. Right now the Bulls up 4-0 over the Marksmen in Central Alabama. The Thunderbolts up 4-2 over the Peoria Rivermen, and the Quad City Storm and the Huntsville Havoc knotted up at 2 goals apiece. That wraps up your final Hampton Inn & Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. We'll break down this game for you in greater detail and then let you be on your way. It started with a goal scored by John Seamer 14 minutes into the contest. The AAA line reunited to start things out, an experiment that paid off and paid dividends well for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem. He decided this team needed a shot in the arm, and the AAA line was the syringe. They scored just 14 minutes into the contest. Seamer ripping a shot past Cody Porter, a goaltender the Mayhem had not seen at all this season until tonight, and Seamer made short work of him 14 minutes into the contest. Sumalitis the lone assist on the tally, but Liam Cairns had a response. It would be Knoxville's lone goal for nearly 40 minutes of play. Liam Cairns netting his 15th goal on the campaign. Lucas Bombardier, Scott Cathrell getting the assists on the strike. Sounds good. And that happened just 5 seconds after Jimmy Soper was let out of the penalty box. A frustrating minus given to Jimmy Soper, who could do nothing about that. And then heading into period 2, Macon and Knoxville knotted up at a goal apiece. Caleb Cameron took matters into his own hand and rifled a shot upstairs, beating Cody Porter up over his blocker and inside the left post, or the left elbow, I should say. And Derek Sutliff getting the lone assist on Cameron's strike. Dakota Kletcha giving the Mayhem their first insurance lead they would have in weeks with the ultimate game winner on a Macon power play. 7:08 into period 3. Seamer and Urban were on the assists. And Roberts Locans gave the Mayhem faithful a scare in the final 31 seconds. He sniped a shot low blocker side with the extra attacker, a 6-on-5 goal scored by the Latvian to put the Mayhem in under duress for the final 31 seconds, but they were able to hold it off. And just 15 seconds after Locans' goal, Jake Trask reassured the Macon Centreplex here on Fan Appreciation Night that 2 points were in the bag for the Mayhem as he scored from about 130 feet or so from the neutral zone into the wide open net for his league-leading 25th goal of the season. That wraps up tonight's contest, folks. Again, 4-2, your final in favor of Macon. Again, we hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We know you enjoyed the outcome. The Mayhem skating away with a valuable 2 points in the standings, and we'll head out to Knoxville tomorrow at the Knoxville Civic Auditorium to square off against the Ice Bears for the last time this regular season. Joel Silverberg has the call. Till then, so long, everyone. Alex Von Coitel wishing you well, and have a good rest of your Friday night.